Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you only on Grande's Graveyard. And yes, we are here. We are live. We are in living color. And it is week 1 of 2 of horror burnout. Yes, of course, Rocktober, Shocktober, October has come and gone. We went out with a Halloween party / bash for the ages. I had a great time. Scary stories to tell in the dark, candy, horror trivia, brackets, the whole 9 yards. It was a lot of fun with you guys last week. And of course, throughout the entire month of October, I want to thank you guys because I saw the numbers this morning of how good Grande's Graveyard drew in October. And I know that's the month for a horror channel, but my Lord, 242 hours was watched by you, the fans of Grande's Graveyard in the month of October. So I am humbled by that. I want to just say right off the bat, thank you all so much for supporting the show, for commenting, for catching replays. It is not lost on me the support this has. I know it's not the biggest thing in the whole wide world, but I really am humbled by the support that it has. So I just wanted to start the show off with a nice thank you to the Grande's Graveyard faithful here because it does mean a lot to me. I do appreciate it. Of course, I like to always kick off November with horror burnout. And of course, next week, we're going to be doing a triple threat versus episode of actual burnout movies, stoner movies. We're going to have a lot of fun next week. But tonight, I was like, you know what? What have I not done on Grande's Graveyard? What would be a fun episode for horror burnout, something that I haven't really touched much on? And I figured that would be none other than childhood movies, kid movies, if you will, movies I grew up with, movies that shaped the film fan that I went on to become. And I thought it would be a nice stroll down memory lane with you all here tonight as I count down my top 10 personal list of childhood / kids movies for you guys all here tonight. So I'm very happy. Of course, to have you all in the chat. Let's not neglect you all for far too long, though. Let's go over here and let's click because we had people here live before we were even live. We had Miss C, Ciao, Grande, and Graveyardian friends. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you, too. Haddonfield mascot in chat. I should have brought a dinosaur-shaped nugs for these. Yeah, you really should have. We had a little catch-up. I don't know. I know you're a big Stouffer's lasagna guy, so if you want to put that to the side for the night, do some dino nuggets, maybe the cheddar dino nuggets, those would be good. It's funny, man, like, watching some of these movies again really did take me back there. And I would say over half of these movies range from like 1995 to like 2003-ish era, right? Because I was born the last week of 96. I'm a 96 baby. I came out the same week as Scream. So technically I'm really more so 97, but I was alive a week in 96 and it just happened to be the week of the best horror movie that came out that year. Funny enough. Me and Scream, we all, whatever Scream anniversary, you know my anniversary's coming a couple days after that. But Haddonfield, what's up? James Abernathy all the way from the UK. Hey everybody. Here for now, but pretty sleepy. Love to everyone. Well, love to you too, man. I'm happy to have you here, even if it's for a little bit. No worries if you have to catch the replay. Catching Z's sometimes is very importante. We got the Soulless Trenchcoat in the house. Bradley, what's going on? Hey, Grande. Yeah, Trench and me aren't too far in age. I think Trench has got a couple years on me, a couple years younger. He might be a 98, 99 baby. So we kind of grew up in the same era, so I'm sure that a lot of my picks may coincide or be in the same ballpark as Trenchy's, but we will find that out only on the Graveyard. We got Susie in the house. Hello, everyone. Susie, hope the flight went well. Susie, of course, was about a 5-hour layover, she was telling me, in Denver, Colorado, telling me about haunted airports and whatnot. So, Susie, I hope the flight went good. Mateo is here. Ciao, Grande. Ready for a fun and nostalgic episode ahead. Never-ending Story and Princess Bride are definitely part of my childhood. Hi to the whole Graveyard. Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, and I already know you know which one, but one of those two movies is on the list. And we may just be talking about one of those two movies first on Grande's Graveyard. So we'll get to that. But people saying hi to one another. Excellent. Very nice to see everyone saying hi. We got Anthony Chabot, does pop cultures and openings. Hey, how are you, buddy? By the way, I'm going to a college basketball game this weekend. Well, dude, be safe. And I hope you have a great time at the game. Trenchy says, I'm hoping the Cat in the Hat will be on this list. I know it probably won't, but I'm hoping. You know, I could tell a Cat in the Hat anecdote because there is an anecdote between me and that fucking movie, and it's not what anyone would suspect. So you got to keep in mind, I had 2 movie theater birthday parties in my life. One was in 2001. It was the Wild Thornberry movie, and no, that's not on this list. It's not that great of a movie, unfortunately. Great birthday party, but not a top 10 childhood movie, unfortunately. That was one I saw in the movie theater, and I remember 2002, we did another one. It might have been Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. 2003 was when the Cat in the Hat hit the theater. And my plan was, holy shit, let's do Cat in the Hat in the movies for the birthday party. That would be so fun. The movie did so bad, got so shit on, had such a short theatrical run that it didn't make it to my birthday that year. And thus we did a bowling birthday party, I think. It was either that or like laser tag. And I remember being so devastated. I was like, the Cat in the Hat, why is it not? You know, I was a kid. I didn't know anything about anything. This is, you got to keep in mind, this was 7-year-old John Grande. Then you had to explain to me, sorry, this isn't going to happen. I was devastated. You know, and then I saw the movie and I finally got why. even though I'm not a Cat in the Hat hater whatsoever, but I could see why people hate it. I could see why Mrs. Seuss got so fucking pissed when they screened it for her. She was like, you will never make a live action movie of anything my husband ever wrote, you sons of bitches. So that's one of my all-time favorite stories is Mrs. Seuss telling Universal Studios to go fuck themselves. I will tell you, if there was any screening in the history of screenings that I could have been a fly on the wall for, it would have been that one, just to see Mrs. Seuss fucking seeing all this Mike Myers comedy. My God, that would have been funny shit. Ryan, the Hitman Hanley's in the house. What's up, Grande? What's up, Ryan? Hope all is well with you, my friend. Let's see. We got Dr. Howdy 666. What up, Graveyard fam? What up, Dr. Howdy? Hope all is well with you, buddy. 98, baby. Okay, so we're close because I'm basically 90. I mean, I was alive a week in 96, so I don't know. It does count, but it doesn't at the same time. I would have to think too. Think of my list. I grew up with a lot of the stuff from different eras and random TVs and movies. You know, I will say my list, half of them is from that era, like the 95 to like 03. Half of them are there, but of course we have some ones older. Hey Soulish, are you referring to the original 1971 anime special? No, I know for a fact he's not. / your friend. It went well, a bit annoying though. Glad it's over. Love Cat in the Hat. Well, I do too. I think that's a fun one. No Fred, but I love the Mike Myers one. Okay, I had a feeling. I got a few years on Grande, so I'm hoping for Looney Tunes and Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo movie I saw in a theater in 2002, and I saw the sequel in 2004. So those are ones I did grow up with that didn't make the list, unfortunately. But I believe I've yabbed along too long. I think we're going to get into this list. So everybody, cheers. I'm boring this week. I've got a boring bottle of water, a little Poland Spring for the chat. Cheers, everybody, to a safe, happy, healthy weekend. Cheers to our childhoods, if you will. Take that stroll down memory lane with me tonight, only on the Graveyard. Oh, only the best. Only the best. I own quite a few of these, so I won't be too much screen sharing here tonight. But, of course, as always, I will have a brief plot synopsis because that's how Grande's Graveyard rolls. But this first movie, I think any child of the 80s grew up with this movie. Like, I would be so bold to say this is something that if you were a child of the 80s, you most likely grew up with this movie. Now, this was one I remember renting when I was at the ripe old age of like 8 or 9, was getting really into Jim Henson stuff and getting really into, fantasy films. And I always liked fantasy films. I thought fantasy films were the best way to kind of break a kid into film and all that stuff. And I love the worlds that some of these movies create. And a great world that was created, of course, here was in the year 1984, of course, with this little movie from director Wolfgang Peterson, who was coming off a crazy movie like Das Boot in 1981. I'm talking about this little gem right here. Talking about The Never-Ending Story. Yes, The Never-Ending Story. Brief plot synopsis. A troubled boy dives into a wondrous fantasy world through the pages of a mysterious book. Yes, The Never-Ending Story. One of the all-time great songs, and I think one of the all-time great kids movies, fantasy movies. I loved this film from the first time I saw it, and I think that a big reason why it was so vital to my childhood is because I saw a lot of myself in it, right? I mean, I always felt that reading, I always liked reading. I liked Roald Dahl. I liked, A to Z mysteries. I always liked reading. I was a big reader. And this was a movie about a kid who, of course, sadly loses his mom at the beginning of the film. We find that out, and he is stuck in the clouds. He's stuck in his own fantasy land. He doesn't get along with the kids at school. He's bullied mercilessly. He's chased throughout the streets and thrown in dumpsters, and he's just completely sad and alone. And his father over breakfast tells him, listen, we can't keep being down about mom. We have to get up. We have to move on. You can't have your head in the clouds all the time, kid. And he, of course, one day as he's walking to school, gets chased down this alley by these bullies who, of course, chase him into this bookshop where he discusses some literature with the librarian, and the librarian is reading The Never-Ending Story, which he then in turn takes from him and hides in the school attic and decides to read the story. And the story he reads is the film that plays out. We learn of this horrible nothing that is taking over the land of Fantasia, and all of these mythical, magical creatures are scared for their lives. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. And it's up to Atreyu, the fearless child warrior, of course, played by Noah Hathaway, and his horse Artax. Artax the horse. And he and Artax have to travel Fantasia, get to the princess, and save her in time. I know it sounds very, my gosh, that sounds a little nerdy. My gosh, that sounds a little hokey, fantastical, cheesy, if you will. I mean, that's a word you could use for something like this. But I think the beauty of The Never-Ending Story is the world that it creates. I think in a lot of ways, this is a movie that created such a visually appealing world, and the creatures, the animatronics, the imagination that was thrown into this particular movie. And then I think, of course, the overall arcing theme, right? Here's a kid that had nothing, right? His mother's out of his life. He has no friends. He has nothing going for him. He wants escapism, and he finds it through this book. He finds it through the literature that he is reading. He, of course, sees himself as this child warrior. He sees himself as Atreyu. He is this kid who, by the start of the film, is a reader, is a part of the real world, but escapes to Fantasia and becomes the very character that he's reading about in Atreyu. And I love that about this movie. And I think that all the special effects, even 41 years later, still look incredible. Of course, the rock biter, they look like big, strong hands, but they're not. And that whole spiel where he was trying to hold on to his friends, but the nothing took them right away from his grasp, and how sad the rockbiter is that he failed. Falcor, the flying white dragon that flies all across Fantasia. I mean, I just love that stuff. It just never gets old. And I thought all of it has aged just tremendously. And I know that this is a movie that, of course, for its 40th anniversary, did get a re-release in the theaters. I unfortunately did not get to go last July. It wasn't this past July, but the last year, July, 2024 July. They screened this, and I am so sad I missed it, because I think this would be incredible in a movie theater. But it's one that was just so vital to my childhood. Like, I really credit this movie for a lot of things. And I remember being very excited for the sequels. Unfortunately, the sequels don't have half the quality or credit or anything that the first movie has. The second movie is okay, but the third movie is like one of the all-time worst movies I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not even over-exaggerating. It's that bad. But the first Never-Ending Story to me is a true classic. It's a true, like, anytime I watch it, I always am just captivated by it. It's a movie that really inspired me as a kid to get into more movies like this. Like, after I watch this, I want to watch anything like Labyrinth, like movies like The Dark Crystal, movies, anything that had creatures or fantastical elements. And I think that this type of movie would not work now. Like, now everything is very artificial and everything is very computer generalized. And I'm not saying that CGI doesn't belong and you can't do it or you shouldn't do it. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's that extreme or dealing in absolutes here. However, with a movie like this, all this animatronic stuff, it all still looks good. You still feel for all of these creatures, right? The whole scene where he's going face to face with the wolf and he's threatening to eat him. That's terrifying. The scene with Artax in the swamp. Artax, move or you'll drown. He's trying to pull Artax. We know Artax the horse for maybe 5 minutes, yet you feel for that horse like it was your best friend for 30 years. It is absolutely just a heartbreaker. You're like, Artax, you poor horse, move. Don't drown in the sadness swamp. But he does. I don't know. I always love this movie. I love the whole twist at the end where you are Atreyu, you are the hero of your own story, and you can do anything that you set your mind to, and you can escape to this wonderful mythical world as Fantasia. I love The Never-Ending Story. To me, like, this is one of the all-time best kids movies, childhood movies for me. I know this one obviously was a lot old, like it came out 13 years or so before I was even alive, but it is one that still I think can capture and reach across generations and generations. Like I would dare to say, if you have kids currently, this is a great one to show them. It's good. There's some shit in it. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some stuff in it, but I think overall it really, really still stand the test of time. I love the Never Ending Story, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm sorry, I've been blabbling on for too long. Let's see what you all in the chat have to say about this one, because I'm just a big, big fan. Cheers. I'm boring tonight too. I'm drinking tea. There you go. It's a boring Thursday. November is a boring month. Let's be honest. October and December where it's at. My top 10 kids movies is The Phantom Toll Booth. Okay, so this is your number 10, which was directed by Chuck Jones. Chuck Jones, of course, Tom and Jerry fame, about a young boy who travels into a world where letters and numbers are engaged in a feud. Okay, I've not seen that, but Chuck Jones is great. Love The Never Ending Story. Missy just finished a Die Do. Cheers. Let's see. I love this movie. Watched it all the time growing up. I did too. When I sat down and thought about this, Hanley, I had the hardest time picking out. Like when I first started the list, I was like, okay, I'm locked in with these 10. We're done. Finito. Thought about it for a day. Okay, this one has to go on there. Okay, that one has to go on there. It got to the point where Never Ending Story, when I started the list, was like number 5, and it got all the way down to number 10 just because I kept adding to this list, subtracting, adding. It was a crazy list. It was a crazy time, but the Never Ending Story had to be on there. To me, it's like one of the biggest influences of my childhood for sure. Like a lot of the stuff I would watch after it, it was a big influencer of. When you watch The Never Ending Story, you can see how the TV series Once Upon a Time is very similar, because it also involves a young boy who reads a story. And I mean, I've seen this even to the Stranger Things, right? Stranger Things has the Never Ending Story song in it. So it was an inspiration even to them. I could say anything in the fantasy/sci-fi world may have been influenced directly from a movie like The Never Ending Story. And it's crazy. Like Wolfgang Petersen, I never would have thought would have been the guy, right? This is a German filmmaker. This is a guy that had just come off making Das Boot. It's the weirdest thing in the world to me that they said, okay, let's get him. And on paper, yeah, I don't think I would have ever greenlit it. If I was a studio, I would have been like, real, like, why? Like, what makes you think him? And then you watch the movie and it's like, he was the only choice. It was the perfect lightning in a bottle moment of Wolfgang Petersen had to be the guy here. And when you made that sequel, it was clear cut and convincing that they didn't know what they were fucking doing. It just didn't work the same, unfortunately. I'm a big monster and creature fan, especially as a kid. So movies like this hit the appetite. Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I would say for sure I'm in that same ballpark. And I love the fantastical. I love monsters. I love creatures and things like that as well. It's very fascinating to a child. It's not only fascinating to a child, but fascinating to adults too. It's amazing how good this stuff still looks. I like how this movie has so many layers to it, but that stuff doesn't take away from the fun and adventure and horror of this journey. Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think a lot of great kid movies, they have the theme and theme of wonder. I think wonder is a big part of being a kid, right? You want to have that wonder in your heart, right? The whole, I always love The Breakfast Club. There's that great line Ali Sheedy says, where when you grow up, a part of your heart dies. And I think that these movies keep that part of your wonder, that part of your heart, it stays alive forever if you are vicariously living through movies like this, or vicariously you're the kid reading the book in the movie. That's kind of how I look at it. Top 10 childhood movie is Labyrinth with Jim Henson. No Labyrinth on my list, but there is another Jim Henson joint. We'll get to Jim Henson. In the original movie, it is Atreyu who goes on the journey, and in the sequel, it's Bastion who goes on the journey. Even though, yeah, exactly. Bonafide child of the 1980s, but never saw this one in full. Really? It was always just pop culture reference to me. Oh, James, man, I mean, I got 9 others that we'll get to. But, man, if there's one I got to recommend to a child of the 80s, it's this one. No fucking doubt. This would be my number one I would recommend to you. And I know that you're a big sci-fi guy. Granted, this is not sci-fi. This is more fantasy. But, my Lord, I think you'd love this. I've never met the person who doesn't like The Never Ending Story. It's just a universally liked movie, at least to me. I don't know. Maybe there are group of people that hate it, but I've not met them. One of my favorites is the Goblin. He had the small part, but I love the Goblin, so I loved him and the Bat. Yeah, you have the snail racer who ends up becoming the Oompa Loompas in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is kind of funny, the same actor. The Rockbiter was always my favorite. I thought that actor did a great job with he's this gentle giant, and They look like big, strong hands. So good. 2 is decent. 3 is a thing that exists. Man, the second one is really bad too. Like, rest in peace, Jonathan Brandis. It's passable when you see the third movie. Like, it looks a lot better when you see the third movie. Like, I will say that for sure. It's definitely a horse of a different color, as I have a piece of fucking hair in my mouth. Sorry about that. It's certainly a horse of a different color because, man, it is just not. The third Neverending Story is horrible. Jack Black is in it. It's a real doozy of a film, man. I don't know. I just am not into Neverending Story Part 3. It's just really, really poor. And I believe it was directed by Peter McDonald, who had done Rambo 3, who had done all these other. I don't know. It just didn't work for me, man. Iconic movie. Who doesn't want to ride a snail after watching it? Love the character of Morla. Saw it in the theaters. Was incredible. Dude, I'm so jealous. This is one I have to see in the theater before I go. Like a bucket list movie for the theater for me. I would totally love to see this one in a movie theater someday. So hopefully it happens. The horse drowning in his own depression is so fucked up and real. It hits as much as some. It really does. It really, really does. It's like, you really feel for that horse, and you only know him for a brief period of time. Oh, I only have a critique on the movie. Moonchild, really? Moonchild? That's, of course, what he names the princess, his mom, the dedication to his mom. I got you. I hear that. Yeah, Wolfgang has interesting filmography, his Neverending Story, and Perfect Storm, and so much more. Perfect Storm is fantastic. Again, Das Boot, Perfect Storm, that makes sense. The Neverending Story, never in my wildest dreams, but it worked. It couldn't have worked better. The score fits the movie perfectly. I completely agree. I love the score. Neverending Story. That song, so good. It's the perfect opening. A great movie. I think one that had to be on the list. There was once a Neverending Story animated series, and there was a live action series called Tales from the Neverending Story. I did not know either one of those. I did not know there was an animated Tales from the Neverending Story and a Tales from the Neverending Story. I did not know either one existed. All I know is after Part 3, it all went to hell. What is up, Graveyard fam? Mernzy's Movie Mansions here in the chat. Mernsy, I'm sure you have some fun childhood movies to share with us tonight. Mateo, have you ever seen Flight of the Navigator? Holy shit, that movie. That's a doozy. That one's a fucking doozy. I saw it once. That's a Disney movie that's like a lost Disney movie that not enough people talk about. I got to say, I would be due for a rewatch, Mateo. I don't remember loving that one that much, but it seems like Slasher Fred is a fan. He's saying it's a classic. So there you go. Go figure. Yeah, Neverending Story, though, to me, that was one that had to be on here. I think a slam dunk totally needed to be on here. And that'll take us to number 9. Number 9, which... it's funny, and I know I've talked about this with Mateo a lot. Even though I'm a kid of the early 2000s, my dad took the longest time to transfer over from VHS to DVD. So I still to this day own quite a lot of VHS tapes. I still to this day own a VHS player. I still to this day will watch VHS tapes from time to time. It's not an out of print technology for me. It's not a completely passe, even though the world has moved on from it. And these next 2 picks, I actually do own the original VHS cassette tapes of. So I figure I show them because these were how I saw them as a kid. This was how I grew up with these movies. And of course, coming in at the number 9 slot, it's a movie that came out in the year 2001. It's a movie that I did see in the theater with friends. It is a movie that I believe did win the Academy Award that year for Best Animated Feature. And even though I don't even agree with it winning that, I do think it had to be on this list here tonight. Of course, from 2001, I'm talking about this little movie. I'm talking about Shrek. Yes, Shrek from 2001. Brief plot synopsis. A mean lord exiles fairy tale creatures to a swamp of a grumpy ogre who must go on a quest and rescue a princess for the Lord in order to get his land back. Yes, Shrek. Now, Shrek, I know I don't have the cases to either this one or the next one. I don't know what happened to the cases, but I still have. I wasn't kind, and I didn't rewind, though. You can tell what kind of a film fan I am. I didn't rewind this poor cape, so go figure. Shrek was really big and important movie for me, and I'll never forget when I saw it in the movie theater. I was just absolutely blown away by it. And of course, tells the story of Mike Myers, who voices Shrek, who is this ogre who lives on his own in a swamp. He brushes his teeth with caterpillar blood. He takes his baths in mud. It's not just a mud bath, it's an actual mud bath, if you will. He's this slob who uses his own, candle wax, ear thing. I don't know. It's gross, but it's what Shrek does. Shrek is kind of a slob. Shrek is this ogre that lives alone in his humble abode in his swamp. And of course, one fateful day, all of these mythical fairy tale creatures show up at his door, and they're all on the run from this evil Lord Farquaad, who is this 5'0" guy played by John Lithgow, who has taken over the land, and he is looking for his next bride. He's looking for a princess. And what I thought was so clever about this movie, even as a kid, was how it played the parody element on fairy tale movies, right? We all know Snow White. We all know Sleeping Beauty. We all know Beauty, and we all know The Beast. We all know these movies that, don't get me wrong, I grew up with them too. I love Beauty and the Beast. I love all the ones I just mentioned. I've actually never seen Sleeping Beauty, but Alice in Wonderland and all these, mythical movies, right, from Disney or from, of course, Aesop, all Aesop's fables and things like that, to parody them, right? We all know these stories. We all know about the 3 blind mice. We all know the 3 little pigs. We all know the stories of this. Give me something we haven't seen. Give me a spin on the same story that we aren't so, beaten over the head with and know like a back of our hand. And Shrek is a type of movie like that. Instead of a Prince Charming, we get Shrek, who is this guy who doesn't like camaraderie, doesn't like people. He doesn't have any friends. He's miserable. He's alone. And he, of course, meets Eddie Murphy's donkey, who becomes his noble steed, his buddy, who keeps kind of annoying the hell out of him and bothering him and things like that. But Shrek just, keeps pushing him off, but donkey keeps coming because they're good buddies and they kind of grow on each other as the movie goes on. Shrek, of course, is made to go rescue Princess Fiona from the castle and slay the dragon in order to get her to Lord Farquaad so they can get married. And of course, along the way, you meet Fiona, who's voiced by Cameron Diaz. And of course, they meet, and the weird thing happens where Fiona's this beautiful woman, and she and Shrek start to sort of fall for each other. But Fiona harbors a dark secret. She has a dark secret underneath. And of course, that secret is she, when the sun goes down, becomes this ogre herself. And no one knows this except Fiona. And of course, the two of them, they're kind of trying to get along and stuff like that. It's his whole quest to get her to Farquaad, but along the way they start falling in love, but all they see is their differences, right? You're this beautiful princess. I'm this ugly, mean ogre. How could we ever get together? How could we ever get along? How could we ever have our own happily ever after, right? Love isn't meant to be for me because I'm Shrek, because I'm this hideous creature that pushes everyone away before they have a chance to get to know me. And that's the heart that I think Mike Myers did a really great job with adding to this character. And I know that initially, before he had passed, Chris Farley was going to voice Shrek. In fact, you can find audio recordings online of Chris Farley as Shrek. That was going to happen. They literally had some of it recorded, but unfortunately, Farley's untimely passing, it postponed production, and they brought in Mike Myers to do the Scottish fat bastard accent, which I don't know why I didn't sound like fat bastard. Oh, my nuts are rubbing together. It's going to start a fire. The fat bastard voice. I don't do it that good, but, he uses that voice as Shrek in this. And we watch as, Farquaad takes Fiona away. Shrek goes into this depression and then realizes, you know what? I've got to go get my woman back. And he and Donkey kind of object to the wedding. And we have this beautiful kind of fairy tale ending where Fiona leaves Farquaad and the two of them live happily ever after as we're singing, I thought love was only true in fairy tales. And I love that play on words. Meant for someone else, but not for me. So cute, man. I always thought Shrek was just a cute love story between two people that it doesn't look on paper that they should ever be together, but their, similarities at heart is what kind of drives that carriage away as they're happily ever after married. I love Shrek. Shrek is a great movie. Shrek has a lot of heart to it. Shrek has some really funny humor. I think that the whole, again, parodying the fairy tales that we had all known, that stuff was very clever. I love the sequel for what it's worth. Shrek 2 could be right here as a 1A, 1B. Shrek 2 is a great sequel. Shrek 3, or Shrek the Turd, as I call it, Shrek the Turd, and then Shrek the Final Chapter, which I know they're making a Shrek 5. So yeah, the final chapter is never really the final chapter. Those two are for the birds. Shrek 1, though, I think is great. And I think it's just, I don't know, it's to me a pinnacle of a lot of really good things. And I think a lot of the voice actors like Eddie Murphy John Lithgow, Cameron Diaz, Mike Myers, they all did such a good job as an ensemble. And I thought that the animation style did a really good job too, right? This was a DreamWorks movie, and DreamWorks, was struggling. It wasn't like DreamWorks was this big juggernaut yet. I mean, they had come out, I think their debut movie was this movie called Ants, which didn't draw the way they thought. That was the whole let's race to get Ants. Let's get Ants out before Bugs Life. And of course, Ants didn't do the business they thought. Bugs Life didn't do the business they thought, but Bugs Life did a lot better than Ants. And of course, Shrek was one of the movies that rebounded that, and of course won an Academy Award for Best Animated Picture at the Oscars. So, you don't believe me, if maybe you'll believe the Academy, but Shrek is a great movie, and I think that everyone needs to see Shrek. Shrek's one that it'll be celebrating its 25th anniversary next year. Now, that makes me feel. I saw this in the theater. I was 4 years old. And I remember leaving the theater being like on cloud nine. I was like, that was amazing. I loved Shrek. I remember I was a Shrek maniac. I had Shrek for Halloween one year. I still have the mask somewhere upstairs in my room, probably in a closet buried somewhere. I had the Shrek mask. They had Shrek popcorn, which was green. Instead of the yellow butter look, the popcorn was green like Shrek. It would make your teeth green. And you'd be this, I would remember I'd like roar at people. I'm an ogre. I fucking loved Shrek, man. I was a simple child. Absolutely loved this movie. Really, really good stuff. I love Shrek. Shrek's great. Let's see, though, what you guys have to say in the comments. I think we were here. Top 9 kids movie is the Peanuts animated movies. Okay. Shrek is love. Shrek is life. I love Shrek 2. Shrek is great. Shrek 1 and 2 are great. Shrek is fun. I prefer Shrek 2, but Shrek 1. I'm the same boat. Like, I think Shrek 2 is just as good. Like you can easily double feature them because they're so comparable and they're so like quick. They're very short films. Shrek 2 is like only 80 minutes, I think. And I just, the second Shrek's great. The lady played the fairy godmother, and the whole, finale with the noble steed and the handsome Shrek. Like, I don't know. I loved Shrek 2. They really, really should have stopped after Shrek 2. Top 9 childhood movies, even though has adults in it, would have been City Slickers with Billy Crystal. Okay. Shrek had the Smash Mouth cover. That's right. Smash Mouth did a few songs for the movie. The opening song, too. Hey, now, you're an all-star. You could tell the age of the creators with the references to the movies like Alien. Great movie and awesome voice cast. Yeah, the voice cast really does carry it. Like, to me, it's a great movie, but all of them are so good. Like, all of them. And this was, Cameron Diaz was peak here. Mike Myers was peak here. Eddie Murphy was honestly on some down movies. He was in Adventures of Pluto Nash, I think might have came out the same year. That's a fucking piece of shit. He probably gets on his knees and thanks God every day for Shrek, right? Just for the voice, the animated jackass, if you will. But it was a big, big movie. It made a lot of money. I remember my teacher reading is the Shrek book in school and having to censor it because it said jackass, but also telling us what jackass meant. It was just funny. Oh, that's cool. I love how Fiona stays the ogre instead of Shrek becoming a man. And that's the beauty of it, because the whole point, the whole ideology is that it doesn't matter. All that matters is how they feel for one another. All that matters is that their hearts connect, that they mean the world to one another. Doesn't matter if we're both handsome man and woman. Doesn't matter if we're ugly, hideous ogre. We're beautiful on the inside and we care about each other, and that's all that matters. And I think it's sappy, whatever. I'm sure people will say, Grande, that is so cheesy, sappy, and it's so sweet. It'll make your teeth rot. I hear you, but I think it's sweet and I like it. I love Shrek too. I'm with you, Susie. I love Shrek. The movie introduced me to Alleluia. 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 It's a home run. Totally agree. Yeah, Shrek is a home run. The wrestling scene, yes, with the I don't give a damn about my reputation. Oh, I'll see you next Tuesday. Ogres have layers. There's like onions have layers. I love that. No, Shrek's farts. Ants is underrated. Man, it's been so fucking long since I've seen Ants. I never liked it as a kid. Like, Ants would be far from that is a movie I saw as a kid and just fucking was like, no, like didn't really. Bugs Life was the same. Bugs Life was slightly better, but I don't know. Neither one of those movies worked the way they should have. I think the problem was they were both in such a rush. And there's the whole controversy with the guy that quit Pixar the day Toy Story came out, and he rushed over to DreamWorks to try to Beat Them to the Punch with Bugs Life. There's so much controversy with fucking kids movies that you would never, about bugs, about ants. But yeah, that was it. That was the big fucking thing. The guys jumped ship to DreamWorks in similar vein to like Bret Hart jumping to WCW trying to beat them to the punch. Just so weird. The Duloc song is hilarious, but the movie does have heart. Having heart is timeless. Yeah, it is. It really is, no matter what the fairy tale story is. I like Beauty and the Beast. It's my all-time favorite Disney movie. I love that too. I actually have the VHS of that too somewhere up there too. So yeah, no, Beauty and the Beast is great. If my sister was making her list, that would be her number one. I know my sister's favorite was Beauty and the Beast. Shrek is great. John Cleese and Julie Andrews. Oh, they're in the sequel. Yes, John Cleese is, oh my God, totally agree. They're so fun in that sequel. That sequel is really good. In the morning, I'm making waffles. That had a huge, I remember as a kid, 4-year-old kid, that got a huge pop in the theater. Everybody was cracking up laughing, including me. And that was, I don't know, special for me. So I love Shrek. Shrek's great. Which brings me to a movie that I can't lie to you. I know a lot of people hate it. I know a lot of people say it has not aged well. But I guess for me, it's more two things. Obviously, it's the main moral with the father and son, that whole arc, that whole story and tale. But the main thing for me is the lead actor of the movie. And I know this is somebody that I may sound silly when I say this, but I was truly sad when this person passed away. I did shed tears when this person passed away. And I'm sure you'd be, Grande, you didn't know this person personally. Grande, what are you talking about? This is not somebody who was a family member or a friend. I hear that, and I totally understand that. But my dad, I remember he always made the perfect statement with this. It was like you grew up with this guy. No matter what era you're from, whether you're older than me, whether you're younger than me, whether you're my exact same age, in one way or another, this guy kind of helped shape all of our childhoods if you're a film fan. And of course, the guy I'm referring to is Robin Williams. And the movie I'm referring to is from the year 1995, of course. I'm talking about Jumanji. Yes, Jumanji from 1995. Another one that I have the VHS tape for, and a brief plot synopsis. A magic board game summons jungle perils and a missing boy. Yes, Jumanji. In the jungle, you must wait till the dice reads 5 or 8. I love this movie. And like I said, I loved Robin Williams. And if it wasn't a movie like Jumanji, I know a lot of people are going to shit on Jumanji. You know, some people, Aladdin and the Genie, you ain't never had a friend like me. I mean, Flubber, Mrs. Doubtfire, you for the Janiyah Doubtfire duty. So many great kids movies. Patch Adams, Bicentennial Man. Robin Williams was a part of so many of our childhoods. And if it's not this movie, dare I say, it's probably another one for you. And if you want to be so bold as to tell me in the comments, don't be afraid. But for me, it was Jumanji. Jumanji was the one that I first saw Robin Williams in, and I just fell in love. I was like, this guy is great. Like, I'm with this guy. He's so fucking likable. And I always say that there's a lot of great actors, there's a lot of great actresses, but I always felt that Robin Williams was the all-time greatest actor because he's truly one of a select few that has made me feel every single type of emotion that there is. He scared me in 1 Hour Photo, petrified me. He made me laugh my ass off in movies like The Birdcage. He made me laugh my ass off in Mrs. Doubtfire. Made me, really question morality, really question psychology in a movie like Good Will Hunting. He creeped me out a little bit in Insomnia. He charmed in The Birdcage. So many great performances from Robin Williams in so many different avenues. He's truly one of the few actors that has made me cry laughing, and he's truly one of the only actors that has made me cry real tears of sadness. And all of that's because of Robin. And I know that the craziest thing about this movie is that they didn't want him. The director, Joe Johnston, who would go on to do Captain America, the First Avenger, he'd go on to do movies like Jurassic Park 3, which I know are not movies that are highest regarded, and neither is Jumanji for that matter. But he didn't want Robin Williams because he was like, I want more of an action hero, somebody that's believable in a setting like this. And he says that Robin Williams wasn't that. And I think that obviously I understand his gripe. I understand the way he's looking at it on paper. But man, you have the chance to get Robin Williams in your movie. You fucking do it, and you don't ask questions. You just thank yourself later for making the decision to have Robin Williams in your movie. And Jumanji's that type of film. Of course, it stars Alan Parrish, of course, the Robin Williams character. We watch as he is a child at the beginning of the film. He's running away from bullies as well, and his father is very tough on him. He owns this shoe factory. David Alan Grier is one of the workers in there. Of course, same year as Tales from the Hood, when he's the abusive father, which I love that movie too. We watch as this horrible day in the factory goes on. He goes home, has a big fight with his dad, but he finds this board game that's in this construction site, and he hears drums. He hears the drums that are beating inside the board game. And he opens it, he plays it with his friend, and basically gets sucked into the board game. And we fast forward all these years later, where we're following Kristen Dunst and her brother's character in this, as they're these kids that move into the house and find the game. And basically, they all start playing the game. Robin Williams comes out of the board game once the kid rolls a 5. And the entire movie is this basic jungle adventure. But all of the stuff from the game, whether it be rhinoceroses, whether it be, these giant vines and flowers and things like that, whether it be giant lions or spiders or stampedes, if you will, all of this stuff kind of comes out of the game and into their reality. And it's up to Robin Williams and company to finish the game. Shout out Jumanji, and it all goes away. And I don't know what it is. I know there are people that say, the CG is so bad they can't get past it. I will say, watch it on VHS, because all of it looks pretty good because you can't really see it. If you watch the movie in 4K, yeah, the CGI of the monkeys looks really bad now. The stampede looks really bad now. But dare I say, they mix in some practical. I love the practical lion. I love the practical spiders. I think some of the mosquito shots, even though they're CG, don't look too bad. I think there are definitely glass half full moments in this movie when it comes to the special effects, which I know are its Achilles heel, right? This is 1995. They were still experimenting. Jurassic Park had been a couple years prior to this. This was a movie that had a bigger budget, believe it or not, than Jurassic Park. But the effects just didn't quite hit the same. It didn't work the same. But I think if you can move past that, which I easily can, I think you have a beautiful film here. I love Robin Williams in this. I love Bonnie Hunt as the love interest. I thought she was so colorful and quirky and fun. And I just always loved Bonnie Hunt. I thought her and Robin worked so well together, to the point where I would love to see them do another movie together. Sadly, Robin's no longer with us. That won't ever happen. But man, the two of them, I just loved that love story between the two of them. It's very like they're stern with each other. They're hard on each other, but it's you could see the love's there. It's there for them. Thanks for sticking around this time. I love all that. I think that's great. And then, of course, the overarching thing, that other element I was telling you guys what I love about this, is the story between a father and a son. And I like to think that this is a movie that I bonded with my own father over, very much so. And what do I mean by that? Robin Williams' father in the movie, he is very hard on him at the beginning. And then he rolls this dice, and this hunter comes out, and it's played by the same actor, right? It looks like his father. And you can even see there are moments where Robin Williams is hard on Kristen Dunst's brother, and he has this moment of realization where he goes, 30 years in the jungle and I still became my father. I'm so sorry, and he realizes that he has to kind of get over this. He has to move on from, this anger and all of these things. And of course, one of the great finales of the movie is when he stands up to him. He has the gun to his face and hands up, Sonny Jim, top of the line, start running. And Robin Williams says, no, I'm not running anymore. And he says, well, aren't you afraid? And Robin Williams, not missing a beat, goes, I'm terrified, but my father always told me you stand up to the things you're afraid of. And he stands, and he's not afraid. He's afraid, but he's going to stand up to it. He's going to face the music. I am afraid. I'm afraid. I'll shout it out to the heavens, but that doesn't mean I can't fight back. And that's, of course, the whole psychology there of he's afraid, but he's standing up and facing his fears like his dad told them to him. And Alan, my lad, you're finally acting like a man. I remember watching that with my dad, and he always teased me. He would call me Sonny Jim, just the father shooting at the son. He's like, you watch out, Sonny Jim. And to this day, 20 years later, still will occasionally throw out the Sonny Jim line. So that's how much Jumanji meant to me, right? Me and my dad, to this day, will quote the Sonny Jim stuff and the father-son element there. And I like to think this is a movie that brought me and my own father closer. So this is one that that totally had to be on the list for me for so much sentimental value. And the whole Robin Williams thing, it makes me emotional. It really does. Like any movie I watch with him now, I really do get sad when it comes to an end. It's like, it's it. He's not here anymore. You're not going to get any more of these. He's gone, right? And I know they made those 2 other Jumanji movies in his memory and his honor. That's nice. I think I saw the first one. It was okay. It's not this. It's not even close to this. But I like anything made in the memory of Robin. I think it's always in good taste. And Robin Williams is one of those guys that I know he sound crazy, but he meant a lot to my childhood for sure. And I think I would be this bold to say he meant a lot to yours too. Because if it wasn't Jumanji, it may have been something else. But for me, it was this movie. It was Jumanji. It was the imagination of it. And I don't know. I just thought it was great. I always loved Jumanji. Let's see what you guys have to say, though, in the comments. I'm very curious to see if I get in some shit for this one or not. Let's see. Jumanji is good. It's very fun. I'm with that. If you ever watched Zathura, I actually saw Zathura in the movies. I would have been 9 when Zathura came out. It's all right. It's not. It's all right. I don't know. It's very mid Zathura. It's not terrible. Top 8, the original Dr. Seuss animated specials. When they watch them as an adult, you realize they are really about lessons. Green Eggs and Ham, which is about trying new things. Of course, Robin was a staple in childhood. I remember seeing Hook in the theater and being blown away. Dude, I'm happy you mentioned Hook because that's another one I've gotten so much shit for over the years for liking. And I get it. I get that it has flaws. I know that Spielberg himself has said he doesn't think Hook is a good movie. I hear all of that. I fucking don't agree. Like, I think Hook is a perfect childhood movie. And that's one that did come very close to making this list. I went Jumanji over it just because of what it meant to me and my own father. But I totally, like, Hook was right there too. I grew up with that one a lot. When the kids see him as Peter and there you are, Peter. Every time I watch that, I'm like, that's Robin Williams at his best right there. It was the businessman who couldn't be there for his son, right? He was too busy on the phone. He was too busy doing this, that, and the other instead of going to see his son's game. Once they see the wonders return, once they see that childlike eye and look in his own eyes, I mean, it's a magical moment. And that's Robin Williams, the only guy that can pull something like that off. And funny enough, Michael Myers wrote that movie. Nick Castle was the writer of Hook. So weird one, totally a weird one, but I'm glad I'm not alone in liking it, man, because people I can't even tell you how many people are like, watch it again, it sucks. I'm like, I've watched Hook a ton. I like Hook. I agree that there are flaws. Same with Jumanji. There are flaws. The monkeys look fucking bad, man. The stampede looks bad, but I can get over that shit. Okay, Such Fred counting down his again. Robin brought magic to Jumanji. He really did. I don't think anybody else could have brought the charm he brought to this role. I get they wanted somebody more tough, somebody more believable, whatever. Robin fucking Williams is who you get, man. There's no question. I may like Zathura a bit more. Really, that's a hot take for me. I like Zathura okay, but it's no Jumanji. Like Jumanji. Any last words? Jumanji. I love it. When he gets sucked into the board game, that scared the shit out of me. There is some, what's funny too about this entire list? You can pretty much look at almost any of these movies and find a horror element. Like you can understand why I went on to be a horror movie fan. When you look at some of these movies on paper, it's like there are elements of all of them that you can find if you look hard enough. And this is one of them, right? The mosquitoes were for me. That I was like, that is the scariest thing ever. If I ever saw a giant mosquito like that, I think I'd shit my pants. Oh, the plants, it's crazy. They shoot poison sparbs and kill Kirsten Dunst. Like, holy shit, man. The monkeys look awful, but I could see looking past that. I like the monkeys. Yeah, exactly. Like, I can look past it, especially in low def. Like, watch it in VHS. It works a lot better. Movies that have very young Kirsten Dunst. I was 12 when it came out. I love it. Only bad movie of Robin Williams was Jack. Nobody is perfect. Jack is brutal. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. That's a bad Francis Ford Coppola film, which I would say that's got to be a bad performance from Rob. And I love him, But that's one where, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. What do you think of the unofficial sequels? Yeah, never mind. He's also great Night of the Museum, right? Which I think those were some of his last movies. At least one of the sequels was. I always love World's Greatest Dad. That's the last great Robin Williams movie for me is World's Greatest Dad. That's like nobody fucking gives that movie the credit it deserves. I love that Night at the Museums. That was actually, I did a birthday party for that one. I did Night of the Museum at the movies, and I love that movie. Ben Stiller's great in it. I guess I'm no. I'm not shitting on Zathura. I just compared to this, it's like literally a different dimension, like to me. But again, I'm putting Jumanji really over. I don't think there's too many people that are going to do that. Speaking of Hook, there was once a miniseries called Neverland, which is sort of a prequel in which Neverland it has Bob Hoskins reprising the role of Smee. Okay, I love Pan's Labyrinth. It was my childhood movie. Really, Pan's Labyrinth. See, Pan's Labyrinth would have came out. I would have been like 10-ish. So, and I saw it when I was in high school. So I feel like I was too old to consider a childhood movie, but it certainly came out around that time for me. So, it is what it is. But we can move on into, I guess, our next pick as Jumanji comes in at number 8. I really like that movie. This next movie, oh man, I just got to see it in the theater for Ghibli Fest, and it meant a lot to me. I've seen the movie twice in the movie theater now, and it's one that also comes with a small anecdote. This one about my grandmother, and we actually have a couple grandmother anecdotes coming, so I do apologize in advance. But I went to the movie theater just a few weeks ago to see this, and it was amazing then. And I remember the story I was going to mention is my grandmother, when I was a real small kid, I think I was about 4 or 5, she came home with this DVD. And I don't have the DVD anymore. I did upgrade to Blu-ray. She came home with this DVD. She says, John, I found a kid's movie. You're going to love it. She goes, I haven't seen it, but it won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. I bought the DVD for you. We got to watch it. I remember watching this movie for 10 minutes, and I got so fucking scared that we turned it off. It's one of the few movies in the history of my life that I actually got so scared I turned it off. I'm not kidding you. That happened. I did face my fears a few months later, and I did watch the whole thing, and I was absolutely blown away as a kid. And even now, I'm blown away by this movie and how fantastic it is. Another movie that I think creates such an imaginative world. I think the color palette, the art palette, the arc of the lead character, it's truly one of the all-time great movies. And I think that even though we have some controversial ones on this list that people may not agree with, I think if there's anyone that's a universal classic, it's this one right here. It's from the year 2001. I'm talking about Spirited Away. Yes, Spirited Away from 2001, and director-writer Hayao Miyazaki. Brief plot synopsis. During her family's move to the suburbs, a sullen 10-year-old girl wanders into a world ruled by gods, witches, and spirits, and where humans are changed into beasts. Yes, Spirited Away. A movie that, of course, I do have the slip here. We do have the fun slip cover here. A movie that really... just like Neverending Story kind of just inspired me to get into so many other movies like it. Trying to find them, will this be better than Spirited Away? Will that be better than Spirited Away? It's very hard to catch this lightning in a bottle again. And Hayao Miyazaki made a whole career of making great movies, whether it be Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, or The Castle in the Sky, or Howl's Moving Castle, or all these Princess Mononoke, all these movies that he made that, dabbled in the fantastical element, in the fantastical worlds, as we follow Chihiro, as she is our lead here, who is in the English dub voiced by, of course, Lilo from Lilo and Stitch, and Samara from The Ring, all within the same year or two. Devlin Chase, I think is her name. She voices the English dub here. That was the one I first saw, so that's the one I'm most sentimental towards. Her and her family, they're moving to a new town. They're moving away, and they stop along the way as they're moving, and they find this tunnel that leads to this town, and they smell this delicious food, and the parents go, oh my God, let's eat this food. It smells so good. We'll pay for it later. They start eating, and the parents become these wild boars, these wild hogs that no longer can speak, no longer can think. And that's what scared me so much as a child. I was so scared that if my parents had Japanese food, they might turn into these hogs. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, turn this off. I freaked out. That was the scene that got me, which is like 10 minutes into the movie. So I watched that and I was like, holy shit, I'm scared shitless. But then I went, of course, later on and conquered my fear and watched the movie. And as it plays out from there, she kind of goes deeper into the town and learns that, okay, the only way if you're going to get your parents back is you got to stay here. You've got to get a job. You've got to listen to me, and you got to fight through this. And basically we watch her as she's thrown into this world of creatures and ghosts and gods and rules galore. She starts working at a bathhouse. We meet this man with all these arms and the soot miner, if you will, and all these things. It's incredible. It is incredible from a palette standpoint. I mean, the animation, the anime in this, it is just breathtaking stuff. Even 25 years later, nearly, it still looks fantastic. It still just really hits home. As we watch this girl, have to fit in and grow up before our eyes, right? And of course, the girl we meet in the car at the very beginning is this spoiled brat who, I'm not ready for this. I'm not wanting to move to another town, and my friends are here, and I don't want to go there. And we hear her whining. We hear her being a brat. As this movie goes on, she has to learn responsibility. She has to learn to work. She has to learn to do the things that she doesn't want to do in order to succeed in her own life. She meets all sorts of colorful characters along the way, like No Face, which is the icon of this movie. She meets the girl that she works with at the bathhouse who kind of trains her. They deal with all sorts of horrible customers. It could be a very anxiety-driven film for a child, right? Because you're watching this child go all through all this crazy, strenuous stuff. And to me, what the brilliance of it is, what Hayao Miyazaki was fantastic at doing was drawing that arc full circle, right? We watch this girl as, again, spoiled brat, not ready for the new world, not ready for it. Towards the end of this movie, she has to get on a train and visit the headmistress's sister. And instead of putting up a fight, instead of saying, I don't want to, and saying something, I'm not doing that, she doesn't hesitate. She goes ahead and gets right on this train to this woman's house, and we learn that this character has now come full circle. She's not ready for it anymore. She's totally ready for anything that the world can throw at her, because now she's lived it. Now she's earned that living. Now she's stepped in those shoes and walked those miles and become from a little girl to a woman before our very eyes. And that's kind of how this movie goes. And we watch this great train sequence as her, No Face, and of course this little gerbil and bird, they're with her, and they kind of go, and it's just a kind of somber scene. We have this very somber score, and they're waiting on the train. And I think what Hayao Miyazaki found right there is a great metaphor for life. Sometimes life is crazy. Sometimes life throws us curveballs. Sometimes we don't want to do shit that we're told that we need to do in life. Sometimes we want to just run away from it all. Sometimes we don't want to face it. Sometimes we want to just be monotone and settle in and rest. And that's what she's doing on the train. She just kind of turns off. It's like I'm doing what needs to be done now. Let's do it. Let's nonchalant. Let's go for it. And I love that. There is it's kind of a love story, kind of not, with her and this boy that can turn into a dragon, if you will. There's a great scene with the two of them holding hands as they're falling from the sky. And I knew you were good. And they play this great music as the two of them are crying and flying together. I mean, I cry like a fiend. Every time I see it, I cry like a fucking fiend. It gets you emotional. It is truly one of the all-time great movies. I know it's not even just animated movies, not even just childhood/kids movies. Spirited Away is truly one of the all-time greats. And I don't think that Studio Ghibli has ever made a movie that has hit a nerve quite like this one did. I mean, it exploded in popular culture. It turned so many heads in this country. And to this day is a movie that is mentioned and referenced. And you can't go into a hot topic without seeing No Face. You can't go, to a Studio Ghibli, Ghibli Fest thing without seeing that character, without seeing Chichiro. So great, man. Spirited Away is just so important. It's so fantastical. I love everything about it. I think it's just a tremendous movie. And I don't know, every time I watch it, it really takes me back to that time when I was a kid. And I remember my grandmother went out of her way to find this movie. That did scare me at first, but I think in a lot of ways it's kind of poetic to what happened with her. She was scared at first, but you face it, you move on, you grow up, and that's kind of the arc it is. It's sort of a coming of age movie. I love that for this. I love Spirited Away. So Spirited Away, total slam dunk, had to be on this list. This movie means a lot to me. And actually, It's a night of anecdotes. This is literally memory lane, the show, and I know we don't have too many people in the house, so sorry if I'm boring you guys to tears. But I'm enjoying this show personally. Um, I went with my cousin. I want to say 2019 Halloween night. They did screen this for Ghibli Fest in the theater, and the two of us we went. And I know she had always loved this movie just as much as me. And man, we went and like we're just totally immersed in it. Just 2 hours, totally immersed in it. Didn't get up to go to a bathroom, drink, pop, none of it. Just when it ended, I remember we were just looking at each other and we were just both like, this is special. This is something that is you're never going to see anything like this again. Like this is truly a once in a lifetimer. And I'm always happy and thankful I spent that night with my cousin. We had such a good time, me and her. And this movie, like if you ever ask the two of us, like, what's your movie together? Like to me and Nicole, we love this movie, Spirited Away. So highly recommend. Very sentimental one for me. Let's see where we were. I want to say we were here. Top 8 kids movies are the classic Shirley Temple. Most people are familiar with the songs like Good Ship, Lollipop, which is from the movie Bright Eyes. Okay, Spirited Away is fantastic. Another great Ghibli is Kiki's Delivery Service. Gotta love Kiki. Yeah, I'm Totoro. Grave of the Fireflies is my favorite, but yeah, that's not a childhood movie at all. I would never show that to a kid in my life. And what's funny is they played that as a double feature. In 1988, that was released as a double bill. It was Totoro and it was Grave of the Fireflies. Grave of the Fireflies was first, and then it was Totoro. Could you fucking imagine if you've seen those two movies, watching them together? They don't click together at all as a double feature. One is a no plot, fun movie about two sisters moving into a house and finding this fun koala bear thing named Totoro, and everyone needs a Totoro. But my Lord, Grave of the Fireflies is one of the saddest movies ever fucking made about death and all this. It's horrible, man. Those movies just don't click together. Grave of the Fireflies is my number one Ghibli, but if there's a number two, it's Spirited Away. Like, I think those are the two best. And then Castle in the Sky. I can do a whole ranking all the Ghibli movies. I think I've done like a top 5 Ghibli on the show in the past. I've done Henry's top 5 Ghibli. I love doing Studio Ghibli. It's fun. That train scene is everything, man. Like, to me, it is a total like realization of what life is. It's just a beautiful scene. It's really the highlight of this movie, and there's a lot in this one for sure. I saw Spirited Away at the cinema earlier this year. Beyond awesome. Princess Mononoke is on in a couple weeks. Oh, that's great. Okay, so I'm guessing they're doing Ghibli Fest by you too. The schedule might be different because for me, Spirited Away was like 2 weeks ago. And then this month it's The Boy and the Heron, and then that's it for at least until April or May for Ghibli Fest. But no, I saw Grave of the Fireflies in August by us, and I have seen, I want to say, was it Whisper of the Heart, which I love. Whisper of the Heart is another great coming of age movie. I'm a big fan of most Ghibli films. Like, I really am into that studio. I think they do some great stuff. My top 8 kids movies: The Page Master, Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin will be on this list in a little bit. Just keep in mind. Yes, Page Master is great. Never seen Spirited Away. Man, I highly recommend. I would say I highly recommend Spirited Away. I think it's a really great fantasy movie and a great coming of age picture. It's crazy plot wise. It's all over the place. I've always heard people say that, where it's so over the place. And the reason for that is he wrote it as he went along. That's the whole thing too. People don't realize that Hayao Miyazaki didn't write the whole thing and then shot it. The whole thing was written as he went. So if the story seems a little out of whack, yeah, it is. It is kind of crazy. It does seem like it's being made up as it goes along. But again, another metaphor. That's life. You deal with it as it goes along. It all fits. It all fits. It's crazy, but it all fits. Pom Poko. Oh my God. Pom Poko. Anyone else seen Pom Poko? You know that's some crazy shit in that. But yes, he is right. They do kill people with their fucking nutsacks. The Americans did turn into the pouches. That's how they fucking explain it. Pom Poko's a riot. I'm loving it. I'm very much a child at heart. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I didn't feel bad. Like, I know this is a lesser crowd tonight, so I am apologizing here. But I don't know. I enjoy this stuff. I think it is necessary when you talk about so much horror. It's good to talk about other things. I love Spirited Away. It's one of the best movies ever. John, I'm right there with you, man. It really is one of the best movies ever. I think it's on IMDb's like top 20 something. Like, that's how high it's regarded by not just me, but like a majority of the moviegoers of the world. Spirited Away is great for a kid and for an adult. Yeah, I'm with that for sure. Like, I don't have any kids, but if I did, this would totally be one I'd show them. Like, I would make it imperative to show my kid Spirited Away. My Neighbor Totoro is the shit. Yes, it is. My Neighbor Totoro. Totoro is fun. Totoro is their comfort also. Yeah, you imagine watching Grave of the Fireflies, you watch these brothers and sisters starve. Then they die, and then it's fucking Totoro. Totoro. What the fuck, man? It's just crazy. Bronson Wright Wolf is in the house. BWW. My top 10 childhood movies are Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Flubber, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, The Little Vampire, Stuart Little, Joe Dirt, Big Mama's House on Track. Bronson, are you a similar age to me? Because, wow, almost all the ones you mentioned I did see as a kid, and they're all around the same time era. So I would guess we're around the same age, but that's my guess. One of those movies have already been talked about, and another one is actually on the list. But I'm going to keep you in suspense, my friend. Matilda is my 10th. I love Matilda, too. Matilda, I got the VHS for. That's a great one. Is your channel? It's your channel. Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, Christopher. Hey, man, I hope your vacation's gone well, man. I hope you had a good time. I miss you at least. Joe Dirt is fantastic. Absolutely, Joe Dirt is a fun time. But Spirited Away, a must, a total must for me. I really enjoy that movie. That's one that I've always really kind of gravitated towards. But as we move on into one that is a record holder for me. There is no movie in the history of all movies that I have seen in the cinema more than this particular movie. And I'm going to share the screen here. Unfortunately, it doesn't have my brief plot synopsis got X'd out for some reason, but it is from the year 2003. I did have the VHS, but I couldn't find it for the life of me. So we're going to share the screen on this one. Of course, from the year 2003. This was a movie that had legs. This was a movie I saw 6 fucking times in the theater with the same person. I'll get into those anecdotes right here. Talk about this movie. Talk about Finding Nemo, if it ever shares. I don't know if it shared or not. I think it shared. Okay, it didn't share. It didn't show on my end. After last week, I just don't trust it anymore. Finding Nemo. Now, I don't know what happened to my brief plot synopsis, but it minimized itself. So sorry about that. No brief plot synopsis here. Please do forgive me. 6 fucking times I saw this in the movie theater, and I could tell you, there's a great reason for that, because this was a movie that, again, I bonded so closely with my grandmother over. My grandmother lived with us when I was a kid. She had her own little apartment in our downstairs area, and we would always go and talk movies. And she was one to always take me to do the first thing, right? Like I remember the first time I ever went to a video store was with her. The first time I ever had a bacon cheeseburger was with her. I'll never forget. We were in her Pennsylvania place, and I remember ordering a bacon. I was like, they do cheeseburgers with bacon on it? Yeah, it is. It came in this gross styrofoam box. It was from like a hole in the wall place. Dude, I remember that was like a monumental moment for me. I was like, bacon cheeseburger. This is one of the greatest inventions of all time. I love it. A lot of firsts with her. And of course, a ton of movies, a ton of great memories I have with her over the years. But if I had to say one movie that I feel like definitely makes me think of her the most, and I can take myself back in the DeLorean and be in that time of 2003, it's Finding Nemo. I remember going with her vividly 6 separate times to see this fucking movie in the theater. And I remember afterwards, our plan was we would go to this pizza place that did have a fish tank that had clownfish in it. So as a kid, I was like, oh my God, it's the fish from the movie. I was like fucking just losing my shit. I just absolutely loved it, right? This is the things that matter to a fucking 6-7-year-old kid. It's the biggest thing in your life. When you go to a movie with your grandmother, you get some popcorn, soda pop, you see the clownfish in the movie, and then you go to this pizzeria, not only having some delicious pizza, but you're also seeing the clownfish from the movie. It was a huge thing for me, and I can vividly remember that. So like to have that moment with her, and to rewatch this week was so like there was somebody missing on the couch next to me, you know. Yeah, that's sad. I was like, my God, I miss this fucking woman. So rest in peace. But this movie is tremendous, and this was a huge hit for Disney Pixar. And Disney Pixar was no slouch, right? Toy Story was the movie that came out in 1995, changed animation forever. It changed the game. I mean, 30 years later, animation was changed forever because of Toy Story, because of the noise it made, because it was made for $30 million and grossed all of this money, made a ton of noise. You had A Bug's Life, which wasn't as successful as they wanted it to be. It wasn't a flop, but it wasn't the movie they wanted it to be. And then they went to the well. They went back. Oh, Toy Story 2. Let's go to Toy Story 2. Let's go back to the well. We don't want to make another flop. Monsters Inc. made a lot of money, which is the movie that came out fourth. And then the fifth Disney Pixar movie was Finding Nemo. And this one grossed just under $1 billion worldwide. This became a mega hit, and it told the story of course, Albert Brooks, who voices the lead here, Marlin. He's this clownfish who, at the beginning of the film, has this horrific thing happen. His wife and all of his eggs except one are murdered by this barracuda. They're eaten and devoured. And the one egg that survives is cracked, and it has a little flipper, and he names it Nemo. He names the kid that survives Nemo. And he's a single dad raising his son. He's very overprotective because of what happened to his wife and all of his other unborn children. And he's very overbearing, and the kid just wants to be a kid. I want to have fun. I want to go play. I want to get into trouble. And Marlin doesn't want that for him. I need to protect you. You're all I have, right? You even have a weak fin. Like he sees his child as vulnerable. He sees his child as this kid who can only have these horrible things happen to him. And of course, what ends up happening is the kid is defiant and goes off on his own and gets captured by a diver and gets taken away. And then it's up to Marlin and, of course, Dory, who's voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, which I will say all these years later, now knowing what Ellen DeGeneres apparently is the biggest piece of shit, it does take me a little bit. I'm like, fuck, man, like, don't ruin this for me, you piece of shit. But unfortunately, Ellen DeGeneres is apparently a piece of shit, so that's unfortunate. But I will say she does do a good job voicing Dory here, who is this really silly fish that has all this memory loss, and she's ditzy and does all these things. And it's him and her. It's their adventure to find Nemo, to get Nemo back. And they of course, come across this shark named Bruce. They, of course, come across the turtles and the jet stream. We watch Nemo as he's in the dentist office with all these other fish that are trying to escape in the plastic bags. There's something about Finding Nemo that's just so charming, and it's so likable. It's such an easy adventure to watch. I don't even know if it is one of the all-time great movies, but for me, it's just one of the easiest fucking movies to watch. Like, it's just a total turn your brain off and enjoy it type of film. And it struck a nerve, man. I mean, this was almost $1 billion movie. That's incredible. It's insane. I mean, it took Pixar quite a few years to get to that $1 billion movie, but this was the damn closest for a long time, and it's easy to see why. It's just very well done. The animators, the direction, the voice performances. I just love everything about Finding Nemo. I think it's great. And like I said, it just does take me back to that time with her. So for me, it becomes like this timeless movie. I could really just remember her going like, you want to see it again? Or be like, yeah, who am I kidding? Absolutely. So I don't know, something about Finding Nemo I just find beautiful. I think it's a beautiful film. I love this one. Finding Nemo is great. I don't want to go so far because I know we still have some more to go, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Because if I keep talking, I'm gonna fucking cry. Let me go. Where the heck were we? I like Variety. Oh shit, it froze as I clicked this fucking comment. I don't know. Are we good? I hope we're good. I like Variety. It's good to do something. Yeah, that's why I like Horror Burnout, because like October, everybody's in the horror. Like, we're all balls deep in horror. So to do something like this is, like, to me, really fun. And like, people, I've heard so many tell me, like, I know those Teen Titans shows I've done. People are like, that's the best Grande's Graveyards there ever were. And I'm like, they're not even about horror. They're like, yeah, but to hear you talk about Teen Titans is great. I was like, dude, that is flattering. Like, because that's like my unloved children right there. Like, I love those Teen Titans shows. Vacation going well. Hopefully the work week went well. Yeah, I'm not going to throw all that shit on you, buddy. Definitely, everything's fine with me. I will speak for myself, Chris. I ain't going to speak for anybody else, but I will speak for me, and I'm okay. I appreciate you saying that. I hope your vacation is doing good, though. I am happy to see you Monday. I think Joe Dirt is David Spade's best movie, just like I think School of Rock is Jack Black's best movie. Dude, it's crazy. School of Rock was on here, and it eventually got bumped off. When I first made the list, School of Rock was towards like 6 or 5. And as I kept, it was one of the ones that got bumped off. So yeah, I am ashamed to say that Jack Black's School of Rock didn't make it. But it is a great movie. Love School of Rock. I do too. If there was a top 15, it would have been on here. I'll tell you that right now. It was on the original list. Finding Nemo is a classic. I agree wholeheartedly. It's great. Top 7 kids movie is Igor. Okay, explaining Igor. Finding Nemo is dope. Yeah, it really is. Looney Tunes Back in Action is one of your favorites. Dude, my God, this is the biggest trip down memory lane of all time. Like every fucking comment, I'm like, anecdote, I'm sorry. But Looney Tunes Back in Action, I remember they had a cereal box ticket giveaway. And if you bought the cereal box, you had to cut out this thing on the back. You had to go online, which remind you, this was the days of dial-up internet, like 2004. So it took forever. You had to like type in the code, and then they'd send you something. And for whatever way it was maneuvered, you could go to see it for free. And so we bought X amount of, cereal boxes. We went, my mom, me, my next door neighbor, and his mom, the 4 tickets for free. We saw Looney Tunes Back in Action. And I just loved it. I thought it was great. Unfortunately, that movie was a fucking bomb. And that's the reason you didn't see Looney Tunes in a movie theater for quite some time. I think that might have been the last like Looney Tunes movie that we saw in theater for like 20 years. I know recently they did a Porky Pig Daffy Duck movie that came out in the theater, but that literally may be the first since Back in Action, which I really liked. Steve Martin, it's great. Brendan Fraser. In the opening of Finding Nemo, it gives you a backstory on why Marlin, yes. That's a good one, Chris. I'm more of a Space Jam guy. I would say Space Jam is definitely one I grew up with more. Like I watched it to death as a kid. Whereas Back in Action, I saw it in a theater and I liked it, but I never remember owning it. I never remember rewatch. I don't think I've ever rewatched it. It's been 20 years. Maybe that would be a good one to rewatch. Jackie Chan made some kid-friendly movies around the world in 80 days, Spy Next Door, Karate Kid. And I'm before Slasher Fred does, if he hasn't already, Jackie Chan Adventures was an animated show on Cartoon Network that I just adored as a kid. And they had to capture all the tokens, and it was Jade and the fucking like. I loved that show. I loved the animated Jackie Chan show. It was great. My top 7 is the Watcher in the Woods movie. Came out when Disney wanted to be known as more than just a company that makes family movies. Okay. Grande, you should watch Navidad 1959. I know it's a Christmas movie, but I grew up with it and it's creepy as fuck. Well, hey, anything can qualify, right? I do have a Christmas movie on the list, and I'm sure when I say that, you all know which one it is, but there is a Christmas movie on the list. And, hey, if you grew up with it, it doesn't matter when it came out or what it is. So that's cool. I love the Little Fish Tank Prison with Defoe playing the fish with the scar in his face. It's so good. And then their plan works, but then they're like, shit, how do we get out of the bags? I love this. That was really funny. My sister and I would always watch it whenever we played Go Fish and saw the Queen of Diamonds. We were always try to get the mirror. Yeah, dude, that's amazing. I love. See, that's what's so fun about this. It's the memories you pick up as rewatching this stuff. Grandma Grande. Yeah, this was my grandma actually on my mom's side, but yes, absolutely not one of my favorite. Totally understandable for sure. Yeah, no, I could tell you here, like I can name Pixar movies better than it, and I have 2 above it, which we'll get to. But what it meant to me and the memories, like that stuff is timeless. So that's a big reason why. What are your thoughts on Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy playing multiple characters in their same movies? That's a great question. I mean, I think if you want to go separately, I mean, Eddie was doing it really before Mike Myers was. Eddie Murphy, when you think about it, it became a gimmick after a while. Like it was funny in the Nutty Professor, right? The clumps, and then that's of course what they were like. As everybody loved the clumps, let's do the second one, the clumps, and it didn't draw. And then of course Eddie Murphy in tons of movies, right? And it's kind of always been his gimmick of let's play multiple characters. It's funny. It's Eddie. It's definitely Mike Myers too. Like Mike Myers is totally a king at doing that. It depends. I think with both of them, they have a very certain style of comedy. Like Mike Myers, especially, it's a very acquired comedy that only he really does. And like, I love So I Married an Axe Murderer. I love Austin Powers. There's a lot of his movies I love. Eventually, though, people got tired of that type of humor, and he fell off the face of the earth. Cat in the Hat's a perfect example. I like the movie. It didn't work in that world. That humor worked for me, but it didn't work for the average moviegoer. And that's why that movie is hated now. That's why that movie is thrown under a rug and they pretend it didn't happen, right? Mrs. Seuss flipped out. They had, of course, the Love Guru. That movie ended that motherfucker's career. Once the Love Guru came out, you didn't see Mike Myers anymore. It wasn't like, let's give Mike Myers a movie. They were like, nope, this is it. It's dead. Get the fuck out of here. And Quentin Tarantino has him in Inglourious Bastards briefly. But after that, I mean, you don't see Mike Myers anymore. It's like he had his run and people got sick of it. So in his case, it got old quick. In Eddie's case, Eddie, I think, is just really made a lot of bad business decisions. Like a lot of his fucking agent should be shot. Like, how many movies with Brian Robbins are you going to do? How many 1,000 Words and fucking Mr. Church? And like, it's just, his variety just ran dry. He made a lot of really poor fucking decisions. Vampire in Brooklyn, The Adventures of Pluto Nash, a lot of bad movies, unfortunately. I love Eddie, and I do think he does the multiple character gimmick really well, but again, it's something that people get sick of. And when you make bad business decisions in the middle of that, it's just only going to kill you in the long run. And that's kind of what happened with Eddie. Although I like both actors, I think they're both great talents. Me and my homies hate Ellen. Dory gets a pass, though. Yeah, me and my homies hate Ellen. That should be a show or so on MTV. Welcome to Me and My Homies Hate Ellen. Ellen, you're a piece of shit. I don't love it as much as other people, but it's a solid, fun movie with a good heart. Yeah, I'm there too. Like, I'm totally there too. Can any of you imagine Defoe as the Green Goblin fighting Jim Carrey as the Grinch? The Jim Carrey Grinch was close. That's a movie, though, with age has gotten really like, fuck, I don't want to watch it anymore. Like, Jim Carrey's great, but the movie around him is like fucking kind of bad. I never saw Finding Dory, to be honest. I love the Teen Titan shows. Yeah, that's like, dude, people tell me I love your Teen Titan shows. That's like the ultimate, like, yes. Like, I'm so fucking flattered by that. And I love that you did Cartoon Network show. Oh my God, that's right. I did top 10. That was last year, I think. We did top 10 Cartoon Network shows. That was a lot of fun. Oh boy, I will see Monday. We'll see. I don't know. I think you'll be okay. I'm sure you've seen the Disney Pixar movie Cars. Michael J. Fox was a movie called Doc Hollywood. Cars and Doc Hollywood are pretty much the same movie. Jackie Chan Adventures was great. Absolutely. I loved it too. Chris is right. It is Home Alone. Home Alone is on the list. It's not next, but it's the one after that. So yeah, that's a small spoiler. Christmas Story is my favorite Christmas film ever. Elf is my least favorite. See, I love Elf, and Elf was on the list, but Elf eventually got pushed off, man. Like, it's another one just eventually lost its spot. Just saw your comment, Bronson. That would be crazy. Defoe Goblin would take it for sure. I think he would. The very original Nutty Professor was a spoof of the classic tale, of course, with Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis was the original Dr. Nutty Professor, if you will. Life is a great Eddie Murphy movie that is hated for no reason. I like Life, but Life is definitely tonally confused. Like, there's a lot of humor in it that is kind of like not funny because of the tone of the movie. I don't know. Life is good, but the tone of it's all off. Vampire Brooklyn is fun. See, I hate Vampire. I think Vampire Brooklyn's horrible. I can't even watch. I can't sit through Vampire Brooklyn. I think it's so fucking bad. I will say Eddie Murphy is Norbit and Rasputia is just like Adam Sandler is both Jack and Jill. Yeah, I mean, I actually, Norbit's one I saw in the movie theater as well. I get that. I totally get that. It's a fair comparison. Have you seen Tower Heist, Ben Stiller movie? Yes, I have. Brett Ratner, yes, who, again, another unfortunate piece of shit, is Brett Ratner. But yeah, I do like the Rush Hour movies. And yeah, Tower House is fine. I'm not saying Eddie Murphy, every movie he's been in has been bad. I just feel like there are more than not that have went to shit. Yeah, it's funny. After talking about this, maybe we do an Eddie Murphy spotlight down the road. It'd be a fun episode to do. I love me some actor spotlights episodes. But let's move on. Let's move on to, I believe we're in the top 5 now. Yeah, top 5 movies now as we move on to another Pixar movie. This is, of course, one that I actually did mention in passing. And I know people will probably be surprised it's not the original, but for me, it's this one. This is the one I grew up with way more. Toy Story 2. Yes, Toy Story 2 from 1999. And we have a brief plot synopsis. When Woody is stolen by a toy collector, Buzz and his friends set out on a rescue mission to save Woody before he becomes a museum toy property with his roundup gang, Jesse, Prospector, and Bullseye. Run like the wind, Bullseye. This movie, man, I can remember... when I was in summer rec, for a couple of years, and my mom was working real estate. My dad worked 2 jobs. So I didn't see them very often when I was in summer rec. I would go to summer rec, and then I would actually be watched by this woman who wasn't my real aunt, but I called her Aunt Pat. I can't tell you to this day why I called her Aunt Pat, but she wasn't my family. I always call her Aunt Pat. And when I would go to Aunt Pat's house, I'd walk over to Aunt Pat's house, and she had about a VHS collection of like 7 movies. 6 of them were adult movies. The one that wasn't was Toy Story 2. And that would be a movie I would watch literally on a daily basis sometimes just to watch something that was kid friendly, right? Because I would go home from, summer rec, wait for my mom to pick me up. It was about 2 hours that you had to kill. And Toy Story 2 was a good way to kill an hour and a half of that 2 hours. And that's a big reason why I grew up with it so much. I've watched this movie to fucking death. I've seen it enough times to recite it. My nephews are now really big fans of Toy Story, not just 2, but all of them. For me, yeah, this was a huge movie, and I totally always liked it more than the original. And I do still love the original. This is a hot take. I don't like the third one. I really don't. And I couldn't even finish the fourth one. To me, it's 1 and 2. I do not bother after that with Toy Story. Like, to me, it's 1 and 2, and it ended here for me. But I love Toy Story 2. And of course, it tells the story more so revolving around Woody. Right, the first movie, Woody's this jealous toy that doesn't like Buzz Lightyear. They're arguing, are you toys, are you not, blah, blah, blah. They end up in the kid's backyard. We all know the first Toy Story. But this one I always thought kind of had the better story, where Woody accidentally gets sold at this garage sale, and Buzz and the gang try to go save Woody. And then, of course, Woody is reunited with these other toys that were all going to be part of this show, this set called Woody's Roundup. And he, interacts with all of them. Of course, Joan Cusack plays Jessie, the cowgirl. There's the prospectors, the big heel of the movie, Bullseye the horse. And Woody is like, at first, I want to go back to Andy. I can't leave Andy's side. I'm Andy's favorite toy. Like, it says it on my leg. It's or my boot says Andy's name. And they kind of turn him away from that world and say, listen, one day Andy's going to drop you. And he's like, no, Andy would never drop me. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just all alone and miserable yourselves. And they say, Andy's going to drop you one day. And we see Jessie's story. Jessie goes into this whole story of how she was with this girl, Emily. And Emily, she never thought Emily would leave her. And what happened with Emily, you get this entire montage song of, Jessie and her playing. She's playing with the doll. And then as it goes on, you see, as the kid got older, she stopped playing with the doll more and more. And we see it from the doll's perspective. And they play the saddest fucking music ever. I tell you, I told you I've cried like a fiend before. I cry like a fucking bitch when I literally can't fucking hold it in. Like, I just, oh no, don't leave Jessie. It's like one of those songs you hear at 3 a.m. that catch you out of nowhere. You'll be watching Three's Company, eating a tub of ice cream or some Cheez-Its, and the fucking dog commercial comes on. It's a dog with a pencil in its fucking head or something. And it's, in the arms of an angel. Buddy, it's 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. I'm trying to eat calories and watch Three's Company. Why are you putting these horrible commercials of animal cruelty and putting all this sad music behind it? It's going to make me fucking cry. And that song that plays when Jessie's being forgotten, my God, it's one of those songs. Your heart drops and you just start, at least I just start fucking crying. It is so fucking heartfelt and sad, man. Every time I've seen it, I never fail to tear up or get sad. But I liked that way of looking at it. Like, okay, they move on from us. We're toys. We're a child's plaything, right? The line from the original. You're going to be forgotten. You're going to fall under the bed. You're going to start collecting dust. You're going to be given away as a donation when it's all said and done. And once Woody realizes this, he says, you know what? I want to live the stardom. I want to be the star of Woody's Roundup. It doesn't sound so bad to go travel to Japan with you guys, because if I'm going to be forgotten about anyway, I might as well jump the shark and forget about him before he forgets about me. And I thought that was great. I thought that was such a great way to look at it. Really, really heartfelt, really, really psychologically thoughtful, I think. And of course, there's the whole subplot with Buzz and the gang, them crossing the street, which I always thought was funny, them in the toy store with the, I'm drive-by Barbie, all that. I thought it was funny. The fucking fat fuck with the cluck and the buck and the cheesy fingers, that guy. It's a funny movie. It balances the comedy and the drama really well. The voice actors are all great again. It's a fun adventure as they try to rescue Woody from the plane. I don't know. For me, Toy Story 2 is the best Toy Story, and I love the movie. I always have. Again, I understand the importance of the first one, what it meant to animation, how it changed the game for 30 years to come, right? We're 30 years later, and Toy Story still has its impact felt upon society. However, for me, it was the little kid coming home from summer rec with Aunt Pat watching Toy Story 2, and I always just felt so much more endeared to this one. So Toy Story 2 is a slam dunk for this childhood list. Like one of the first ones that came to mind that immediately took myself back to Aunt Pat's. It was a good time. But let's hear what you guys have to say in the comments. I want to know if I'm crazy for liking these or not. What are my thoughts on The Rock as Hercules? Wow, is it 2011? I don't know, man. The Rock has done so many fucking things wrong. It's hard to blame him for Hercules now. I don't know. I never saw it, to be honest with you. When She Loved Me, that's the name of the song. It's a very touching song because Jesse, oh, dude, it every time, man, every time I cry I'm like, dude, no, this is horrible. Like, don't do this to me. Like, I need to leave the goddamn room. Toy Story 3 is my favorite. Yeah, you know, man, I have heard so many people tell me that. And that, like, it caught them at the time of their lives where they were going through the transition of being, like, you know, boy to young man, right? And I was right there with you, right? Like, we were all around the same age. Me, you, Chris, we're all around the same age. I just didn't know, like that, like it never needed to even happen. And I get why people love it. I understand. And there's a Totoro. Totoro's in Toy Story 3, fun enough. I don't know, just not my thing. I maybe need to give it a rewatch, but like for me, it died after this one. Like I never want to see another Toy Story after this. This was the perfect, let's end it. Like Buzz is going to get with Jesse, Bo Peep and Woody are fucking, like, let's just fucking end this shit. I don't need to grow up. Like I saw already in this movie what's going to happen. Like I don't need to, I don't know. Just me. Shout out to Aunt Pat. Aunt Pat, we love you. I don't know. I wonder if she's still alive. She's old even then. But I did, you know, it's funny. I saw her in a grocery store like years later when I was in I would say I was like 21, 22. It was like last years of college. And I was in the grocery store, and sure enough, I fucking turned and there she was. And I went, "You're probably not going to remember me. I've grown a lot." And she went, "Something about you's familiar." And I was like, "Aunt Pat, it's me." And she went, "Johnny." Oh my God. We literally in the middle of the fucking grocery store. We're next to all this like frozen meat. And me and Aunt Pat had this moment, man. Oh man, Aunt Pat's a good motherfucker. I hope Aunt Pat's still alive, and her husband, Nick, Uncle Nick. Well, we love you, Uncle Nick and Aunt Pat. Toy Story trilogy is one of the best out there. Yeah, I mean, now it's a quadrilogy, right? I mean, it chooses. Okay, here we go. Haven't seen 4. We don't talk about 4. So for me, 4 is where it lost its steam. Anthony, welcome, buddy. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't seem like 4 is too high in regards of the chat here. I didn't even finish. I turned it off. I went, no, I'm good. I'm fucking good. I don't need to watch this movie. The Rocketeers at your number 6, a cross between Bond and a superhero movie, okay. I go 3, 1, 2, but I got to rewatch them. Oh no, dude, I think that's a fair. I know, like most people like the third one the best. I'm just not there. Fuck Forky. Is Forky the fourth one? I don't know. To me, the third one, the fourth one, I like don't. I pretend they didn't happen. This movie was the final movie that Jim Varney. That's right. Jim Varney died shortly after. Sadly, may he rest in peace. Sing us a song. No, that one. Oh God, that one gets me. I like the Zurg stuff. Yeah, the whole I Am Your Father, the whole poking fun of that. The opening of Toy Story 2 is a lot of fun with he's through space and the whole space mission. I don't know if people remember, there was the Buzz Lightyear Star Commander, I think, where it was like a movie where it was him and they were actually in, you know, like the space world fighting people and shit. It was great. It was like this fat aliens with him, this hot aliens with him, like this robot guys with him. It was like Star Wars, but with Buzz Lightyear. It was actually good. And I had the VHS of that too. Toy Story 5 will be coming out in 2026. Shrek 5 will be coming out in 2027. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz are all reprising their roles. Well, of course they are, because money talks. I have no interest in either. Like Shrek died after 2, and so did Toy Story. They both died at 2. Like there's no reason for a 3, 4, 5. There's just no reason. I'm not sure about Antonio Banderas. reprising his role as Puss in Boots. Did he hang up the boots? Did the puss hang up the boots? Toy Story 1 and 2 are my favorites. 3 was okay. I didn't care for 4. Yeah, I'm there. I'm about there. I finished 3. I watched 3. I get why people love 3. I just didn't see the same movie. Like, I was just kind of, I guess I really do think it's a point that I couldn't take my love for 2 out of it. And then once 3 came out, people were like, fuck 2. And I remember being like, get the fuck out of here. No way. Like, I think that was a big problem for me, to hearing people shit on number 2, which I guess fitting enough. You shit on number 2. Although when it comes to Pixar, my top 2 are Monsters Inc. and The Incredibles, because of course it goes back to monsters and superheroes. Well, I love both those movies too. The Incredibles didn't make the list. If you've seen the thumbnail, you know Monsters Inc. did. Toy Story 3 made me cry. It made a lot of people cry. To me, Toy Story 2 made my ass cry. I fucking cry my eyes out. Have you ever seen the Harry Potter movies? If so, which one do you think is the darkest? For me, it's the 4th. Love the Harry Potter movies. Harry Potter 1. I've done an episode on the Harry Potter movies, actually. That was another horror burnout. It's funny, when you talk about horror burnout, other horror burnouts come to mind. Harry Potter 1 and 2 are my favorites. I like the second one the best. The third one I know is like everybody's favorite. I really like it, but of the first 4, it would be my bottom of those 4. And then the fourth Harry Potter is great with the Goblet of Fire and the tournament. I love the 4th one. Yeah, it is dark. And then after that, I don't like any of them. I don't like 5. I really don't like 6. I think 6 is the worst. And then the last, the 2-parter, nah. It's a very top-heavy franchise. 1 and 2 are the best. 4 is a close third, and then 3. And that would be about it. I actually went to the theater, though. We saw part 2, part 3, and part 4 in the cinema this past year. It was really cool. Especially seeing part 2 meant a lot to me. Oh, I love Buzz Lightyear Star Command, the movie. Yeah, right. Yeah. The show was bad, but the movie was good. The movie was fun. Shrek 1 is my favorite. 2 was okay. I'd say Shrek 1 and 2 are like equally good. And then the 3rd and the 4th one, no. Hell no. Toy Story 2 is bad in my opinion. I love Toy Story 2. Welcome, Matt and June. Toy Story 1 is the only one I actually love. Wow, I've never heard anybody say it's bad. I've heard people say 3 is way better. I've never heard anybody say it's that bad. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. I love the second one. It meant a lot to me. And that's why I came in there. But of course, that's our number 5. We're on to the top 4, guys. Here we go. Coming in at number 4, Chris kind of did guess it just a minute ago. So yeah, no big suspense here. It is a Christmas movie. It is a movie that I cannot deny literally is a movie I grew up with. It's from the year 1990, celebrates its 35th anniversary this year. I'm talking about Home Alone. Yeah, Home Alone from 1990. Brief plot synopsis. An 8-year-old troublemaker mistakenly left home alone must defend his home against a pair of burglars on Christmas Eve. Yes. Of course, written by John Hughes, directed by Chris Columbus, who, funny enough, went on to do the Harry Potter movies. This movie, as a kid, man, it meant so much to me. Like, this was a huge movie for me. And it was a big hit when it came out. They did not expect this to be as big of a hit when it dropped in the theater as it ended up becoming. I mean, this was a movie that they expected to do decently, but it became a monster mega hit to the point where they were like, we got to do a fucking second one. Like, they immediately rushed to do a second one, which is basically just a remake of the first one. It's really not that much of a different film. And then, of course, you have 3, which I never minded 3. I know people hate 3. I don't mind 3. 4 is like, you want to see me lose my fucking mind? Watch the 4th Home Alone. That is like one of the worst movies ever. And I know there's a 5 and 6, but I'm not brave enough. 4 was the end. 4 maybe had a brain aneurysm. I'm good on 4. But Home Alone 1, this is one that I watched on VHS. I would rent it as a kid. It was always on TV when you grow up. It's always on TV now. It's one of the movies every December. It's on TV. Like, this is one that you could always catch. That's probably why I don't own it. Like, I had the VHS somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know where it is. I couldn't find it in the VHS rack of fuck here. But Home Alone's a universal classic. This is a movie that everybody knows. I really don't think I have to go too far into explaining any of it. But Macaulay Culkin was just a great up-and-coming child actor at the time, coming up movies like Uncle Buck, coming up movies like, Only the Lonely. And he had been in a ton of movies like that. Would go on to be in My Girl, Page Master, shit like that, before he ultimately quit acting for a few years. But I always thought Macaulay had a great charm to him. And I wanted to be Macaulay. Macaulay Culkin was a huge, and I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of kids wanted to be Macaulay Culkin. I think we all wanted to tell our parents to go shove it up their ass. I think we always wanted to tell our parents that we're watching rubbish and eating pizza, that wanted to run the house by ourselves, wanted to raid our brother's top drawer and steal his money, or do any of the crazy things, go shopping by ourselves, do this by ourselves. Like, I think what Home Alone does so right is it really embodies what it means to be a kid so well. And that's because it's written by John Hughes. John Hughes got the youth. John Hughes, writer and director of The Breakfast Club, writer and director of 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He got how to write youthful characters, but this was one of the first chances he had to write a child as the lead character that's left by his parents, played by Catherine O'Hara and John Hurd. May John Hurd rest in peace. And it's around Christmas time. He's in the Chicago area. And of course, the Wet Bandits, Harry and Marv, respectively, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, are wanting to break in his house on, of course, Christmas Eve and rob the house, rob the McAllisters, if you will. And it's up to Kevin to stop them, and he basically booby traps the entire house, and they kind of fall and play into his hands and have all this stuff. There's so many magical things about Home Alone and why it works, and why I think it became a classic the way it did. And of course, like I said, the youth writing of Macaulay was a big part of it. But I also think the next biggest element to it, and these two guys don't get enough love, and if they do get love, it's one, not the other, and I don't think that's fair. It's Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern as Harry and Marv. Their chemistry was unreal. I mean, it is so good in this movie. These two low-life guys, one's this tall goof, one's the tiny goof, right? Same year as Joe Pesci would do Goodfellas, as the two of these guys driving around the neighborhood, robbing all these houses and things. The way they played off one another, like kids are scared of the dark. So you, Marv, you're scared of the dark too. You know that? Like, I love it's the way he's like, shut the fuck up. Like, stop trying to be tough, you fucking asshole. Like, you're scared of the dark too. There's the great deleted scene. Now, I know we always hear the scenes are fucking deleted for a reason. We always hear that. There's the single greatest deleted scene for me in any movie is for Home Alone. If you want to look it up, it's online. It's Harry and Marv driving around the neighborhood, and they're singing, Harry and Marv are coming to town. It's absolutely one of the best deleted scenes of all time, man. You will laugh your ass off just because the way they play off each other. It was just so natural and organic. And you really did buy that these guys had known each other for so long and had been doing this for so long, of course. And then the gags, the physical comedy of it, right? The blowtorch to the head, the steaming hot door handle, the paint bucket to the face, the Matchbox cars, and the Marv, why the hell did you take your shoes off? Harry, why the hell you dressed like a chicken? And the whole Daniel Stern and the tarantula and the scream he lets out. I mean, that is just, every time you watch it, you cannot help but laugh because it's so well done from those two performers. They just were so good in this role and selling the pain. And in the meanwhile, you do really have a good sentimental holiday film. It's just the perfect movie all around. It's funny where it needs to be. It has a lot to say. It has a great ensemble. It's just a great movie, man. Home Alone is one that I always loved as a kid. I love this in the sequel the most. I just think that the first two were the best. And I never minded the third one for what it's worth. I know people hate me for that, but the third one is not that fucking bad to me. I am in a world where there are certain sequels, like in a horror movie fans world, that Home Alone 3 don't look that bad to me, but I don't know. Home Alone's great. I love Home Alone. Let's hear what you guys have to say, though, about Home Alone, because this is one that, I mean, everybody knows, so I don't want to go on to it for too long, but where were we? Holy cow, we had a lot of comments. Wow. Okay. This is crazy. I like the Indian in the cupboard, right? And I watch this movie every year. It's something funny. Like, I totally do too. Not consciously. I have to watch Home Alone. It's just on. It's just always on. That's why I don't own it. I really, truly believe that's why I don't own it. It's like it's always there. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was the first PG-13 one. Saw it in the movie theater. Fifth movie. Okay. Home Alone 2 is the best. Home Alone 1 is really good, but 2 is way funnier. I think they're really good. I would lean towards the first one. Like the big difference in the first one, you have the old hermit man that they think is a serial killer. And then in the second one, it's the pigeon lady with all the shit on her. And she's covered in pigeon shit. And Kevin, I've had my heart broken, Kevin. I like the fucking pigeon lady just as much as the rest of us, but I always thought it was a weird, like, all right, in this movie, the first movie we had an old creepy guy, and this movie, let's have an old creepy homeless pigeon lady with shit covered on her. Like, why not? Like, I watch Home Alone every year around Christmas. Yeah, no, it's a must. It's like a must, man. I agree with you. Chamber Secret's probably the most underrated. That's my favorite. I love the second Harry Potter the best. I read that there was going to be a plot twist, which was going to reveal Frank was the brains behind the attempted burglary. That would have sucked. Granted, Frank was a douchebag, but no, that would have sucked. 3 is watchable. I'm with that. I can totally watch part 3. John Hughes wrote the third one too. So anyone, I know Roger Ebert was famous for hating Home Alone 1 and 2, but he loved 3. And I'm always like, the same person wrote all 3 movies. Like, I don't get it. Like, I can see, okay, Raja Gosnell is no Chris Columbus. That I get. But to see is like the worst sequel. Some people say, oh, Home Alone 3 is one of the worst sequels ever. I'm like, you need to see more fucking movies. Like, you've not. I truly believe that if you think Home Alone 3 is one of the worst sequels ever made to anything, you need to see more movies because you haven't been exposed to as much shit as we have. Home Alone and Home Alone 2 are my favorite Christmas movies. I can't argue with that. They're fucking great. And I watch them all the time too. Home Alone could be seen as a sort of family version of Die Hard, sure. Top 5 kids movies. Shark Tales, when you watch this. Wow, Shark Tales. I didn't like Shark Tales, to be honest with you. That's not what I like. The 6th movie is Daniel Radcliffe's least favorite movie, too. He was drinking too much around the time. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't know Daniel Radcliffe was an alcohol or drinking too much around the time. I hate this. That's the worst one. I rewatched Home Alone last year, and it hit harder than ever hit before. I used to be lukewarm on it and like 2 and 3 more. I still like 2 more. I got to rewatch 3. It's a great trilogy. It is. It's a fine trilogy. Granted, it's fine as 2. But I don't know. Macaulay was okay. Macaulay was. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Love that. He was one of the biggest stars in the 90s. Yeah, he was. He really was. And it's a shame what happened with him. His parents took all his money or tried to take all of his money, and he left the business until Party Monster, which is a movie that I really like. And I know a lot of people don't, but Party Monster is a really good movie. Kevin was him. I think that's a big reason. I think that's a big reason why so many fucking people grew up with it. It was like, I want to be that kid, man, eating pizza and tricking get you no good, stinking, rotten keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead. 1, 2, 10. I just love that. It's funny every time. Home Alone, Daniel Stern says kids are scared of the dark. He says kids are scared of the park, right? It's literally Home Alone 2 is just let's change the setting and remake it. And that's all they fucking did. Like, and it's fine. I love it. Tim Curry, Rob Schneider, the limo of pizza, the Duncan's toy chest. I like the second one just as much, but I think the first one's the best. Definitely also my top childhood movies. Have you seen documentary on Candy? I Like Me. Dude, I loved the John Candy documentary. I can't lie to you. I did get very emotional at that one as well. The John Candy doc was great. It's on Prime for free for any Prime member. Great watch. Like, I love John Candy, and John Candy has the 1-day cameo in this. He shot for a day, just to be in this as a favor, I think, for John Hughes. And yeah, he's great at it. It's a brief role, but definitely cool to see John Candy. The Shovel Man really is the heart of the film. Exactly, is I'm afraid he won't talk to me. Well, why don't you call him and see if he calls? That's great. Home was a perfect casting as well. Completely agree with that. Fun fact, they went to De Niro to play Harry before Joe Pesci. I believe they had somebody else casted as Marv and shot with him. And then Joe Pesci he was like, nah. I forget who the actor was. I've heard that. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I have heard that Joe Pesci put the kibosh and said, get Daniel Stern in here, and that's what happened. At least that is a rumor. I don't know if that one's a fact, so if you want to double check me. Joe Pesci's character was named after the main villain in the classic 49 film, The Third Man. Okay. There is a deleted scene from Home Alone where the whole family is sleepless in Paris. Buzz is the only one sleeping. The rest of the family feels bad for the way they treated Kevin. I've never seen that. I've never seen the deleted scene. It always bugged me he didn't eat that mac and cheese. Yeah, right. That mac and cheese just got cold, man. That is just a bit. Maybe I even got the feathers in it from the Joe Pesci trap with the. Why the hell you dressed like a chicken? I love that. My greatest deleted scene is Lucky Enough to Be a Ghost song from Casper. I get they didn't have enough money, but it's a great song. It would have been amazing in the film. I saw Casper for the first time in all these years this October. Finally rewatched it. I had a ball with it. Really, really good. 2 is my favorite, Matt. I agree. It's funnier, and I like how Kevin doesn't have home field advantage. He's trying to save the Christmas orphans. Yeah, no, the second one's good. It's funny because Chris Columbus directed the first 2 Home Alone movies, and he also directed the first 2 Harry Potter movies. And he was supposed to direct the first 2 Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief movies. The first one didn't make enough money. They didn't like the direction, and Columbus got the boot. So, yeah, they were banking on Chris Columbus, man. He's always money. That was the one time where it just didn't work out, unfortunately. Page Master's a blast. I love the song from Page Master, Dream Away by Babyface. A lot of Page Master love here. John Candy was only paid around $400 to be at Home Alone. The pizza delivery was paid more than him. And it's crazy because John Candy only worked one day. Like, they rushed John Candy's shit together. It was like, all right, get out of the airport, get in the fucking van, start filming. Like, that was I've heard 24-hour shoot. I highly doubt it was actually 24 hours, but I know that, like, it was all done within one shooting day. Like, I don't know if it was a 12-hour day. My guess is it was like a 16, 18-hour day. That they just shot all that shit and just were like, all right, we're going to have to make it work. It's always funny. He tells the story of his kid getting lost in the morgue. Like, I always thought that was the darkest, like, what the fuck? I always want to think that was improvised by John Candy, but it wasn't. John Candy was $414 for Home Alone. Well, hey, for a day of work, that's not terrible. I've done worse. John Candy and Macaulay in the movie, exactly, which is a great movie as well. Home Alone, though, a total classic, one that I think it needs to be watched every Christmas time. It's a true all-time great movie. And we're into the top 3 now. We're really in the nitty-gritty here. We are into, some of these 3, it is as tough as it gets here. Is I share nothing there. I completely share nothing there. I clicked the button, but it didn't share. This next movie dates me a little bit. This one is one of 2 that I believe that came out in the 70s. This is an older one, but one that there's zero doubt I grew up with this, and I watched the VHS to death, almost to the point where I don't know if the VHS, if I still have it anymore. I can't find it. If I do, it has been watched to death. Like, that VHS has seen better days. I would have to probably buy a 4K of this if it exists. But, of course, it's from the year 1979 and the great mind of the legendary late, great Jim Henson. I'm talking about the Muppet movie. Yes, the Muppet movie from 1979, one of my all-time favorite movies. In a brief plot synopsis: Kermit and his newfound friends trek across America to find a success in Hollywood, but a frog legs merchant is after Kermit the Frog. My God. This one, I don't even know what to say. It's like I'm at a loss for words how much this movie meant to me. From the very opening of everyone gathering to go to the movies to see the Muppet movie, and then the movie you watch is what they're seeing on the screen play out. I always love that. And of course, the opening song, the Rainbow Connection, one of my all-time favorite songs. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? I know it's so cheesy, but in a way it's just great, and I love the beauty of it. I always thought it was just a nice, beautiful song and a beautiful way to open it up through the clouds, right, and the rainbow, and Kermit the Frog singing, the banjo on the swamp. And we watch as Kermit basically travels from the swamp all the way to Hollywood. He talks to Dom DeLuise, and this is a ton of cameos in this movie. We see Mel Brooks, we see Steve Martin, we see oh my God, Carol Kane. We see so many cameos in this movie. It's almost a glorified cameo movie, but it works so well because it introduces you to the Muppets. And now the Muppet Show was on around this time. It was playing. It was filming in of course, London. And this was their first big shot at a movie. And man, I think they just nailed it and hit it at the park. Of course, as we watch Kermit the Frog travel from the swamps of where he's born and raised to Hollywood to try to make it in movies. And he meets all these colorful characters along the way, like Fozzie Bear, and the 2 of them are dancing, and Fozzie does the stand-up at the bar. There was one sailor that was so fat, and then there's this fat sailor in the back that just breaks the bottle and goes, "How fat was he?" And like, every time I see that, I laugh my ass off. I love that fucking guy. That guy is my hero. Like, how the fuck fat was he? I'll fucking kill you, Fozzie Bear. And he's like, he was not fat, and no one ever said a bad word about him. Like, I love how Fozzie just completely is like, all right, never mind. I didn't say shit. I didn't do it. Love that. Gonzo, which of course we eventually find out Gonzo's an alien about 20 years later in Muppets in Space. Gonzo is an alien. The Chicken, Miss Piggy, Scooter, the band, the Rainbow Studebaker, Doc Hopper, and the evil frog legs. And he wants Kermit the Frog to be his mascot, to be his, paid servant, if you will. And Kermit doesn't want any part of it because, of course, they're selling frog legs to be consumed, and Kermit doesn't want to be the face of that. But Doc Hopper sees the talent. Doc Hopper sees Kermit as his big star and poster child, and Kermit doesn't want any part of it. And so it's almost a chase movie in that way. It's not the greatest movie in the world. I'm not trying to say it's an all-time perfect movie. It probably has problems that I don't see, but like if I think of my childhood, this is a movie I watched to death. I watched this. I watched Muppet Babies. I watched The Great Muppet Caper, Muppets Take Manhattan. So many things Muppets related that I was into as a kid. And this one was always my favorite. I always loved the Muppet movie. I just thought it was great. And, you see, again, the imagination of Jim Henson, a guy that I know didn't direct this one. He directs The Great Muppet Caper, and then Frank Oz does Muppets in Manhattan, which is great. Frank Oz, the voice of Miss Piggy and Yoda, fun enough. A year apart. This is Miss Piggy. He's here in 79. The next year, he's Master Yoda in Empire Strikes Back. Kind of funny how that works. I don't know everything about it. The puppets, the way they move, the way they interact, the memorability of these characters, the music, the songs, and what do you think of that? What do you think of that? I love that. They'll never notice us in a Studebaker. What if we just changed up the paint job a little bit? Fuck it, we'll make it a rainbow Studebaker. They'll never notice us then. And there they are in a rainbow Studebaker. I don't know, stupid shit that you find funny as a kid, but even as a 28-year-old man, I find it fucking funny. So I don't know. They did something right here. It has a great chart, and I think the message of the movie, while it's still very funny and it still has great characters and great songs and great musical numbers and all of these things, I think the message of the movie is why I always liked it. It's because it's, again, I think a metaphor for life. Life is a journey. You're going to meet all these people over the course of your life to try to get and obtain the ultimate goal that you have for yourself. And it's not always about the destination. It's about the climb to get to the goal. It's about the people you meet along the way that you become friends with, that you become family with, that you fall in love with in the Miss Piggy case, that you span that journey with. Those people, that time, that's what matters. That's the good stuff. That is what makes it all worth the trip to get there. And yeah, could they have easily been declined by Orson Welles, who plays the big head of honcho power of Hollywood here in the movie? Yeah, could they have been declined? No, but he gives them the show and the whole ending musical number where they're all singing Rainbow Connection on the stage, and it's every single Muppet that ever had a part of the show, whether it was one scene, whether it was 1 second. Every single Muppet that Jim Henson created is on the stage singing at the end as the rainbow comes over them. We'll all find our way. We'll all get there together and embrace this moment together. And that's why I think Jim Henson was great. And it's another documentary that I'd highly recommend people watch. The Jim Henson documentary was just beautiful. Another really sad one because the guy died so young. But, for me, this was a movie that really, I don't know if I'm here without this. I would say the top 3 movies, I don't think I'm here on Grande's Graveyard without these 3 movies. They are quintessential to why I love cinema. And this is definitely one of those movies as to why. And again, I know I've heard people say, oh, it's a cameo movie. It's not funny. And the Muppets did better. Like I've heard people say Great Muppet Caper is way better than this. That's fine if you feel that way. I'm all for the OG here. I love the Muppet movie. Like to me, that's one that meant the world to me. So for me, that's what I went here. I think we were here. My mom loves the Muppets. They always scared me, though. I had a Muppet scared me, that's for sure. The Muppet movie is classic. It was the first Muppet movie, which was later followed by The Great Muppet Caper and The Muppets Take Manhattan. Right, exactly. Don't remind me of the evil Muppet dog. Yeah, Susie knows the story. There was this evil Muppet that I used to have a recurring dream about that would haunt me from my bedroom window. It looked like Rolf, but with a pink nose, and it just had a monotone expression, would just stare me down, and I was always petrified of it. It was a recurring dream I had as a kid, and I was always scared to hell out of that thing. Corey, King Igor, who used to be on here, I remember he drew it once. He did like a computer drawing of it, and it was pretty accurate to what I remember it looking like. And he did it to terrify me. So thank you for the nightmares, my friend. Top 3 kids movies is Little Monsters. It is such a great movie with Fred Savage and his brother Ben. Howie Mandel is so great with his friendly monster. I love the song We're on the Road to Nowhere. Yeah, no, that's one somebody had mentioned because I did a poll on Instagram of what's your favorite childhood movies. And somebody did say, I believe it was Dr. Howdy. I don't know if he's still here, but yeah, it was him who put that one over. Muppet movies are great. Yes, they are. My top 3 childhood movies is Raider of the Lost Ark. Okay, interesting. That's an interesting childhood favorite. But yeah, no, I guess it depends on when you grew up. Eli Cortez is in the house. Eli, welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Muppets Treasure Island is also awesome. That might be my favorite. I also love the special where they meet Sesame Street and the Fraggles. Fraggle Rock I watched Fraggle Rock way more than the Muppet Show. Like, I loved Fraggle Rock. And my sister to this day makes fun of me. You couldn't like the regular Muppets. You liked Muppets in the Sewer. That was what she always said to me. You couldn't just like Miss Piggy or Kermit. And I was like, I do love Miss Piggy and Kermit. She's like, yeah, but you watch the Fraggle Rock and these dumbasses in the sewer. I was like, I love Fraggle Rock. What the fuck is wrong with the sewer? She always, to this day, will tease me about it. I remember I saw they released the Blu-ray set of Fraggle Rock, like the complete 50 discs or whatever. And I sent her a picture. I was like, I'm going to buy this. She was like, you are a fucking loser. I was like, thanks. I even remember enjoying Kermit's Swamp Tales. Dude, that I actually remember hating. And there was also the Muppets Wizard of Oz, which fucking sucked. My God, that was horrible. And Quentin Tarantino was in it. Oh my God, dude, you just unlocked a memory. People saying hi to Eli. This movie was one of the last movies that Edgar Bergen had appeared in. Okay, Kermit or Gonzo? Gotta choose. Kermit all the way for me. I don't even think that. Why, are you Gonzo? Would you go Gonzo? Maybe Gonzo? My favorite is probably Animal, though. Animal. But I like Fraggle Rock a lot. Call me crazy all you want. I'm all about Fraggle Rock. But yeah, the Muppet movie, slam dunk. I love it. It's great. It's a great movie. And yeah, no, we are on to the final 2, which I do have here, so I don't have to share the screen. But what I can do, I do have the plot synopsis for these 2 on my phone because I was taking a little while to set up here. Moving to these last 2, man, we're nitty gritty. Like I said, this is in my top 10. I would say these last 2 are in my top 10 movies ever. Like, these would make if I did the top 10 movies of all genres ever, these would both be on the list. And I think I did do an episode years ago when I got back from COVID, when COVID nearly killed my ass. I did an episode that was really long, like 3.5 hours long. It's a long one, but these 2 movies did make my top 10 if you watched that episode and have been watching that long. This was, of course, from the year 1971, starring the late, great Gene Wilder. My number 2 favorite childhood/kids film, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yes, Willy Wonka's opening up the chocolate factory. He's going to let people in. Brief plot synopsis. A poor but hopeful boy seeks one of the 5 coveted gold tickets that will send him on a tour of Willy Wonka's mysterious chocolate factory. This is... Like, I don't know if it gets better than this for me. Like, I fucking love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Always have, always will. I loved the book as a kid. I thought the book was tremendous. I was always so heartbroken to hear Roald Dahl hated the film and was disgusted by it, I think he said, and that he felt that they completely missed the point. I fucking completely disagree. Like, I get it. I get it's his baby. It was his book. But, like, I've read both. And I think that, I've read the book and I've seen the movie. It's a good adaptation to me. I don't care what anybody says. I know he said that it was too sentimental and he didn't like there was musical numbers. I'm like, but it was a fucking musical. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I never got Roald Dahl's hatred of the movie. But I love the movie. And, of course, it tells the story of Charlie Bucket, who is this poor boy who delivers papers for a living, lives with his mom and, of course, his aunts and uncles who are bedridden for 20 years. Of course, Aunt Georgina Uncle George, Aunt Josephine, and Grandpa Joe, of course, or Grandpa and Grandma's, whatever the fuck, not aunts, uncles, sorry. He lives with them and they're bedridden, and he every day on his paper route walks past this mysterious chocolate factory called Wonka's Chocolate Factory. And Willy Wonka is this world famous candy maker who no one has ever seen before. Nobody ever goes in. Nobody ever comes out. He meets the peddler in the street selling meat cleavers, which I always thought was pretty funny. Like, hey, anybody want a meat cleaver in the middle of the street? Buy one from me. Fucking silly. But he hears of this contest where there are 5 golden tickets that are hidden throughout the world in these Wonka bars. And you got to buy Wonka bars in order to try to find a golden ticket to go to Willy Wonka and his mysterious chocolate factory. And we meet the winners, of course, and they're all these horrible children, right? We have the gluttony fat kid, Augustus Gloop. We have the brat, Veruca Salt. We have the I don't know what you'd really classify Veruca. I'm not Veruca. Violet Beauregard, just an obnoxious kid, I guess. And then Mike TV, who's obsessed with television and doesn't interact with people. And then, of course, Charlie, by the fate of chance, finds the 5th and final golden ticket and gets the opportunity to go to the chocolate factory. And, of course, he goes with his Grandpa Joe. And to me, one of the all-time great moments in movies is when Willy Wonka opens up the door to the chocolate factory. The imagination, the colors, and in 4K, I don't know if you're 4K collectors out there, but if you are, you need to buy this 4K because it's truly a top 10 transfer that there's ever been. The colors just fucking pop more than they ever have before in any other home video release. I sold the Blu-ray to get that. That's how much of a difference there is. I guarantee you. I'm not blowing smoke here. But we watch Gene Wilder, and Gene Wilder is magic in this role. And the whole story of, I need to do the whole limping when I come out and do the somersault because the rest of the movie, no one will be able to tell whether I'm lying or telling the truth. And that's the whole thing, too, that he tells the story of in the interview where he wouldn't have taken the movie if they didn't let him do that. And, of course, I think that was so smart. Gene Wilder steals this thing. I think Gene Wilder is the reason to watch it every time. And it's a great movie other than that, but he really steals it as we watch these kids one by one kind of fall because of their imperfections. And there's these Oompa Loompas that he saved from Loopaland. There's no such place. And he saved them from the Schnoz Wanglers and the Vermicious Canids and all that stuff. I love that. I just absolutely love the imagination and the songs, right? The Oompa Loompa Doopa Da Dee. If you are wise, you'll listen to me. The pure imagination, come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Love that. The Wonka boat ride with all there's no telling where we're going, which way we're rowing. Is it raining? Is it snowing? It's just great. Like this whole world that they create in Wonka's Chocolate Factory is just, all these years later, I still think it's great. And I remember kids in the neighborhood, we used to put on our own plays, like backyard plays. And I remember when I saw this, and they were all girls, all of them, except me, obviously. So I always got to be Willy Wonka. I always got to be Grandpa Joe. Like these were the parts that we played. We would act out the movie in scenes, and that's memories I have as a kid with this movie. I'll never forget like acting it out, in backyards with kids and stuff like that. I loved Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I still think to this day there's just something so magical about it. And that's a big reason why I don't like the remake. The remake is very artificial, whereas this is just organic, and it works because of all the things that Gene Wilder's doing and the director. I thought the director did a great job with this too. I don't know. There's just something about Willy Wonka that I love. And the ultimate story of what Wonka's looking for. Right? We watched these 4 kids peril, right? She was a bad egg. Mr. Salt got what he wanted. What is that? Veruca went first. I love that. And Violet, you're turning violet, Violet. And Mike TV turns into the little, kid. That's great. But once you learn what Wonka was trying to do is he's trying to give away the chocolate factory. I don't want to do this forever. I don't even want to begin to think about trying. I had to put out the golden tickets. I had to have you kids come to the chocolate factory because I had to see if any of you were worthy of taking my legacy over. I want you to take your family. I want you to move them in here. I want them to be a part of all of this. I want you to take care of the Oompa Loompas like I have. And I can't do that with an adult because an adult is going to want to do everything their way. They're going to want to do everything their own, procedure. But if you bring in a kid that can see the wonder of Willy Wonka and his ways and see that charm that Gene brings to this role, you'll have it all and you can take my chocolate factory. And that's what he does as they break the great glass elevator. Hold on, everybody. Here it comes. We'll be smashed and cut to ribbons. And they flying over town. And don't forget whatever happened to the man that suddenly got everything he ever wanted. What happened to him? He lived happily ever after. And then they did the hug and the great glass elevator kind of goes on into the heavens. I mean, I loved it. Like to me, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a perfect movie. It's in my top 10 ever made. I would say it's a top 10 movie ever for me. And I know that's probably crazy to some people, but I don't know. There's no doubt that it has the sentimental factor. It has the magic. It has the great look. It has the great performance from Gene Wilder. Now the rest of the cast is good too. It's funny. It's very funny in time. There's a really good British sense of humor to it. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. It has very, very good, clever British humor. I don't know. I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I was surprised in my show prep. This movie was a flop when it came out. Made on a budget of $3 million, grossed $4 million. Didn't become a hit until years later. It was one of those cult. This is kind of a cult movie, but it's become like an undoubted classic. But it's just kind of funny that it wasn't really liked when it came out. So it's kind of weird. But let's see what you guys have to say in the chat. Wow. A lot of stuff in the chat. Holy shit. Willy Wonka is such a very classic movie. Love this movie. I do too. Willy Wonka is a classic, just a timeless tale. Absolutely agree. Great number 2. Thank you. No Dark Crystal or Goonies love. See, you got to keep in mind, I grew up at a different time. Like, I'm not a kid of the 80s, really. Even though, granted, I guess use Wonka's 79, fucking, or I'm sorry, Muppet Movie is 79, Wonka's 71. I hear that. I didn't see Dark Crystal till college, and I didn't see the Goonies until like high school. I was late bloomer to the Goonies. I love both movies, but I specifically kept it as ones that I had to be a child when I saw it. So for me, if I saw those movies as a kid, Goonies would have had a very good chance to make the list. But I was like literally past puberty when I saw the Goonies. So I can't, like, Stand By Me, one of my favorite movies of all time, didn't make the list. I saw it. I was too old when I saw it to say childhood movie, but it's a great kids movie, if you will. So I don't know. Willy Wonka's come on. Like, I know there are some people that don't like it, and there are some people that like that remake. That's fine. I hate that fucking remake. I hate it. I saw it in the theater, so excited, and Johnny Depp, he's a good actor. What the fuck was Johnny Depp doing in that movie? That is one of the worst performances from a really good actor that there's ever been. He is terrible in that movie. You see how fucking good Gene Wilder is in this film, and then you watch that fucking piss poor remake, man. Fuck. What's up, fellow Graveyard friends? LOVE Machine is here. Welcome. I don't know if you know this, but the early 2000s, late 90s, there was once a punk female group called Veruca Salt. That's amazing. I didn't know that. We got to listen to some Veruca. Veruca, sweetheart, daddy's coming. She was a bad egg. I always love watching the Brave Little Toaster and Rock. Holy, hey, dude, you made me just choke to death. Fucking Slasher Fred's like favorite movie is the Brave Little Toaster. The fact that Gene Wilder wouldn't do the movie unless the somersault was in, right? Isn't that? It's so wild. And they all looked at each other like, all right, fuck it, you can do it. Like, you're great. And thank God they gave in. I love how Gene Wilder said he wouldn't do the movie. Yeah, exactly. That's the big. And who doesn't love the somewhat shady Grandpa Joe? Oh, no, I don't like Grandpa Joe. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Grandpa Joe hate, I think. Because when you think of Grandpa Joe, it's pretty bad. I mean, Grandpa Joe was bedridden for 20 years, even though the motherfucker gets up and starts doing a fucking Irish jig when he hears that Charlie won the ticket to the chocolate factory. He been burning the family's money on tobacco, and I'm giving it up to tobacco now, Charlie. I'm just gonna give it up. I was like, gee, thanks, you fucking lazy bastard. You've been laying in a bed for 23 fucking years, mooching off your paperboy fucking grandson and fucking chewing tobacco with it, you scumbag. Yes, Grandpa Joe's a piece of shit. Bugsy Malone, okay. Grandpa Joe was a lovable menace. Gene Wilder is the man. Yes, Gene Wilder was the best. R.I.P. Yim Om Yang, Grandpa Joe, evil. Evil, I tell you. Put up your pinky. Let's hope Grandpa Joe finally has a job, that lazy fuck. Yeah, that lazy ass, yeah. The boat ride and the set looks magical. The songs are great. Cheer up, Charlie, and you. Apparently, Roald Dahl got pissed at that. Like, he was like, fuck, that song doesn't belong in the movie. Like, I was like, Roald Dahl, fucking shut the fuck up. Like, I don't know. Wasn't the biggest Grandpa Joe guy. I love this movie. Gene Wilder's a comedic. He really is. And, like, I would love to do a spotlight on him because there's a lot of movies he did that there's just no one talks about that I think he was really, really good in. I loved him ever since The Producers, which was 68 with him and Zero Mostel and of course, Mel Brooks. You watch that and you're like, yeah, this made the perfect sense for him to go on and make this. Yeah, I'm with that. I hate that remake. I know there's some people that think it's like this unspoken about classic. I'm not there. I fucking hate that remake. It's just shit. Let's save money and have all the Oompa Loompas be the same fucking actor. You took all the magic out of it. Willy Wonka, here he is, Willy Wonka. Fuck you. Oh my God, I hate that fucking movie. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Okay, if you think about Grandpa Joe as the villain, he's faking a disability, almost gets Carly ripped to shreds, and almost sabotages his chance of getting the factory. And I like how it implied the children are murdered. Yeah, that's the thing. Another horror element here. It is. You never learn if they lived or not. Like, Gene Wilder's like, oh, she's just going to burn alive in the furnace. And Mr. Salt's like, the furnace! You know, and it's just like, what the fuck? I like the Johnny Depp one, but I don't. I actually don't like the Johnny Depp one. Goonies is my favorite movie of all time. Oh, awesome. Okay, I didn't know that. I agree with Yim Yang, aka Echo's Guitar 91. Grandpa Joe is evil. Okay. How did you know that was Echo's Guitar 91? Is that I didn't know that. Travis Mitchell. That's a first time name. Welcome, Travis Mitchell. Hope all's well. All Uncle Joe did was fake illness for 20 years to avoid working, rely on his family struggling, and push Charlie break rules. Does any of that really make him a bad guy? Right? I mean, the guy's a martyr. The guy's a saint. No, yeah, Uncle Joe. I mean, Grandpa Joe, Uncle Joe, whatever. Joe's Pizza. I don't know. Me and Anthony had some Joe's Pizza this year. Welcome, Travis. People saying hi to Travis. Welcome. And yeah, we're there. We're at the number one slot, number one movie. Let me break out the plot synopsis here, because this is a movie that I credit for a lot of things, but the biggest is why I love movies. You, throughout the history of time, will hear some of the most respected filmmakers or film enthusiasts, cinema passionate people, discuss what the main moment was that made them love movies forever. You hear stories of people talking about Dorothy opening up the door of the black and white Kansas, walking into the colorful, wonderful land of Oz, and its wizard, and the Yellow Brick Road, and the Munchkins, and the Cowardly Lion, Tin Man, Scarecrow, all of that, Emerald City. You hear guys like Peter Jackson talk about Kong, and when they open the doors and you see King Kong and he's strapped to those pillars, and how much that meant to him, and how that made him want to run out and go make movies like Bad Taste and of course Dead Alive and Meet the Feebles, and all these movies that he would go on to make as a young up-and-comer. Guys like Guillermo del Toro, who loved the Frankenstein so much that he's now made his own version of Frankenstein that will be on Netflix tomorrow. Cheap pop, I guess. You've throughout time heard stories like that, and I love stories like that. And my story like that kind of goes with this movie, and it's of course from the year 2001. It's Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. My number one childhood/children movie of all time. No question about it for me. This is numero uno. Brief plot synopsis, and I will get into the scene, but I just had to preface this whole thing by saying that. In order to power the city, monsters have to scare children so that they scream. However, the children are toxic to the monsters, and after the child gets through, two monsters realize that they may not be what they think. Yes, Monsters Inc. Now, I saw this in the movie theater at the ripe old age of 4. Earlier this year, I was able to share that experience with my 4-year-old nephew, Michael, and we got to go to the movies. They showed Monsters, Inc. They did a nice scavenger hunt for the kids where you had to find Boo. They had all these Boo, cutouts taped throughout this place. We went around doing that. They had free fruit snacks, candy, all that stuff. And to watch that with him at the same age that I was when I first saw it was like the ultimate full circle moment for me. I was like, this is the completion of the childhood arc. Like, this is now it's his to enjoy and his to explore and his to find all of these movies that I hopefully, enjoyed as a kid. And then of course, the other ones that some of you may have grown up with. Of course, some of you have been sharing your lists as we've been going along here tonight. There's no doubt about that. And I do appreciate you guys doing that because it's really cool. For me, seeing this movie and the impact that it's had as a film fan is just, you never run out. Monsters, right? Scaring children in order to get electricity for their city. Love that. Monstropolis. I love that. I think it's a great idea. We scare because we care. Monsters Incorporated. And we follow James P. Sullivan, Sully, of course, voiced by John Goodman, who is their star top scarer, and his manager, Mike Wazowski, voiced by Billy Crystal, who had passed on Buzz Lightyear. Of course, that's something that not many people know. Billy Crystal passed on Buzz Lightyear and wanted to do Mike Wazowski, of course, as a redemption. And I'm happy that it worked out that way. I think Tim Allen works for Buzz, and I think Wazowski is totally all Billy Crystal. I think it's great. And we watch these two guys as they go to their work every day. And then basically this child named Boo, they call it Boo, gets let free in Monstropolis, and of course all hell breaks loose because they believe that children can cause disease and contaminate you and all these things, and it's a moral panic and all of this. And it's up to Mike and Sully to try to get Boo back to her door, because in this film we watch as the monsters, they have these doors ordered from a factory, and this little red light lights up and you can walk through a child's closet into their bedrooms and scare the holy hell out of them. And I love that idea. Like, what a creative concept. What a great idea for a kid's movie, and to integrate it into the horror world of monsters and the whole cliche of there's a monster in my closet. What if we made a movie about that? And that's what Monsters Inc. is. And I always thought that was great. And of course, it has a lot of heart to it. It has a great friendship element with Mike and Sully as the two of them. They kind of drift apart but come back together as the movie plays out. There's a really nice, not father-daughter, but it's kind of that way with Sully and Boo. He sort of becomes sentimental to Boo and falls in love with her and taking care of her and really looking after her. He's this big kind of protector for her, a bodyguard, if you will. Really cool stuff. I love that stuff. I think that's absolutely great. And then we get the villain, Randall's, voiced by Steve Buscemi, and James Coburn in one of his last film roles as Water News. And you learn that they're up to no good, and they're looking to let 1,000 children die in order to save the company and things like that. And they have all these evil plans and stuff. But the scene I was referring to, that was my big moment, is towards the third act where they're running away from Randall. Randall's chasing them, and they all kind of grab onto the doors that are getting sent back to this big factory. And they all hop on, and they're all holding onto the door, and there's this big chase scene between Randall, Mike, Sully, and Boo. And they go into the factory, and there's this amazing wide shot of all the doors, this giant grand factory, all these doors of all sorts of colors, this grand shot, to me one of the all-time great wide shots in movie history as we went out. And that was the moment for me as a little 4-year-old kid in that movie theater. I was like, wow. I was totally wowed by it. I totally loved it. I was like, that is why I love movies, and that is a reason why to this day I love movies. And I really do think that a big reason I became a horror movie fan is for a movie like Monsters Inc. It's not a horror movie, but it has the horror elements of monsters scaring kids and this whole world that they create. And of course, who could forget the blue VHS tape, which is really cool and that I own here. See, this one I rewound, and all the signatures on the inside of all the characters. I don't know. I just, to me, like, this movie means the world to me. And I don't think that I'm here. I don't think I'm a horror fan or anything, cinema fan, if it isn't for a movie like Monsters Inc. that just totally opened my mind to all of it. And I was like, I totally need to watch more movies. That was the moment that happened for me. And Sully was my hero. I was Sully for Halloween. I had the Monsters Inc. playset. Like Monsters Inc., I look back and that is totally the movie that meant the most to my childhood. And not even just that, but my cinema love and my love for cinema, it's because of Monsters Inc. So like I am forever indebted to the creator, Pete Docter, and of course Lee Unkrich. There's a lot of creators, a lot of people that had their hands in the cookie jar with Monsters Inc. So it's not just one person you could thank, but it's a movie that I just never ever get sick of. I've watched it a ton, or really probably too much, but I was so happy earlier this year. I tell you, I've watched this movie 100 times or so, watching it with my nephew, watching it with Michael, watching it on the big screen and seeing him see it for the first time. That was my full circle moment of like, you know what, like this is really sweet. Like this is a nice moment for me. So Monsters Inc., I just don't think you can top it. My favorite childhood movie of all time, Monsters Inc. Love this one. Let's see the comments. I don't know how hot of a take this was. I'm very curious to see. A lot of Grandpa Joe was hated. I gotta say that. I don't know where the fuck we were. Number one is a movie cartoon, All Stars, to the movie where you have these 80s cartoons who become to help a young teenage boy with his drug problem. Okay. Oh man, wonderful movie. Love Monsters Inc. Totally. I love Monsters Inc. It's fantastic. I'm with that. To the rescue. Cartoon All Stars, amazing. Travis saying thank you Travis. Randall is such a great villain, and I like how creative the monsters are. They really are. The world they create. Pixar, like the beautiful thing about Pixar is they go all out for the small things, like all the details. And if you look closely, there's the Easter egg for Nemo. One of Boo's toys is Nemo, and I always love the ending where they shred her door and they find out that, monsters found that laugh is way more powerful than the power of scream. It's 10 times more powerful. And Mike Wazowski builds Boo's door back after it's shredded. And Sully opens the door and Boo, kitty. And you see in the movie end. It's just a sweet, I don't know, it's something so sweet about it. Always watching. The poor orange monster, the George Sanderson, 2319. I'm on a roll today. Love George Sanderson. I had the McDonald's toy of George Sanderson. There was a McDonald's toy of it. I had it for years. I think I gave it away in like a toy. See what happens to the fucking toys? They get donated away. See, Toy Story 2 had the idea. Grande and I quote this movie at work. Yeah, me and Chris, Mike Wazowski. We work with Roz, basically. Glad you brought up the concept. It's such a fun idea, and it plays right into how kids think. Then try to figure out the world works and often come up with the wacky idea. Sure, yeah, that's a great way. Hey, Pixar's always doing stuff like this. And this, keep in mind, like I mentioned before, Toy Story 1, big hit, changed animation. Bugs Life didn't do what they wanted. They went back to the well with Toy Story 2. So this was the next, like, all right, let's get something over that's not Toy Story, and it worked. And then Nemo became this big fucking nearly $1 billion movie. And then The Incredibles was a big one too, which I saw all those in the movie theater. Don't forget to slash that like button and sub to this awesome channel. Thank you so much, Eli. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Thank you. Monsters in Your Closet fear came from this. I guess so. Maybe it did. I guess this was the first exposure I ever had to something like that. You know what's funny? I've never watched the prequel. Never. I watched clips of it. I never watched the movie. I almost scared it would, like, I don't know. I'm scared to. And not like I'm not afraid of the movie. I'm just like, I feel like Monsters Inc. is so special to me. I don't want anything in that movie to ruin it. And not that it would or that I think it would, but I'm like, it's a possibility. And it's in the back of my mind. You guys want a snow cone, the snowman. The abominable. Why do people say I'm abominable? What about the friendly snowman, the lovable snowman? 3 ninjas. Okay, that's a unique one. I prefer Monsters Inc. to Finding Nemo for sure. Yeah, so do I. Definitely. Like this is the clear number one. It's this and Wonka on my top 10 list ever. Like I think those are both perfect movies. There were 2 endings to 3 ninjas. Was there 3? It should have been 3 endings. I remember that toy. I think they had that too. Yeah, Jessie's one of her toys. some of the classic kids movies were pretty dark, like the movie Something Wicked Comes This Way. Sure, and like I said, you can find horror elements in all the movies we talked about tonight. And this was a really fun stroll down memory lane with you guys. I wanted to thank you all for watching tonight. It seems like we didn't have an overabundance of people at once, but we had a lot of different people as it went on. So that's cool. Hopefully it ends up doing really well view-wise. This is one of the longer graveyards of the year. We're closing in on 2.5 hours. I didn't think it would go that long. But yeah, no, Trenchy's got some for us. Let's see. I don't have a list, but some of my favorites that come to mind you haven't mentioned are Holes. Holes is great. Holes I forgot about and probably may have made the list. Cheaper by the Dozen 1 and 2. I love the first Cheaper by the Dozen. The second one, Spider-Man trilogy. Totally saw the first Spider-Man in the theater when I was 5. Bartok the Magnificent. Sandlot's great. Could have totally made the list. Goonies, Cats Don't Dance. All, yeah, really, really good picks there from Trenchy. Yeah, no, and if you're catching the replay, totally comment down below. Let me know what your top childhood/kids movies were. This was a lot of fun to do. This was something different, and I definitely enjoyed shaking it up a little bit. Next week, brief promo for next week, and then we'll wrap it up. It's horror burnout week, so I decided, why don't we do burnout movies and do a triple threat versus stoner movies? Pineapple Express versus Friday versus Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. What is the best of the three? You're going to have to tune in next week to find out. So, everybody, I just want to say thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Miss C says, awesome show as always. Only, thank you so much. Yeah, this was a really good time. I do appreciate it. And, of course, if you guys are catching the replay, do let me know what some of your faves are and let me know what you think of my list. Was it good? Was it bad? Or was it goddamn ugly? Absolutely. What a showdown. Let's do it, right? We got to do it. Burnout week. We're going to do it. Pineapple Express all the way. So, Trenchy started off the bidding right there. Pineapple Express is already got a vote. We didn't even start yet. So, everybody, if you want over the weekend to watch those 3 movies in some way, shape, or form, totally do it, because next week we're going to be talking about a great all-cap stream. Stay frosty. You stay frosty too. And everybody else, have a safe, happy, healthy weekend, and we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet. Peace. Good night, everybody. Cheers.